This is the kind of bridges along the way. So we are trying to make our way. We are trying to make our way here. This is the kind of bridges we are seeing along the way on our campaign tour here. This is how dangerous this place is.
Ruling is clear.
It's clear, very clear. It's the speaker. Thank you, Senator. Law remains the law. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the closing argument. As you can see, I am in my full regalia, dedicated to the late President William V.S. Tubman, who legislated Unification Day in Liberia. Call your mom, call your dad, call your granddad, your grandmom, let them come closer. Let's dig a little deeper into our history. We need to be unified. Are we unified? What happened in the house? Does it call for reaffirmation of our citizenship to the nation? Are we real when we say we are ready to unify our country? By saying this, are we admitting that we have a fragile nation? Are we admitting that we have divided our nation into pieces? The closing argument is going to delve into what is the unification, the policy, the man who made it possible, William Vacanera Shedrick Tubman, the longest ruling president of the Republic of Liberia, 27 years. But some will argue, though, that he could have done more. Under his reign, he had total control of everything and everybody. A nation at peace for 27 years with a very prosperous economy. Some will say at some point we were either second or close to Japan in our GDP. What did he do with that wealth? I know sociologists usually say it's development without growth. You have money, your bank account is fat, but you are sick, you are uneducated, you are illiterate. You are very myopic in your thinking, your thought processes, because of your worldview, limited worldview beyond the Republic of Monrovia. We are going to deal with three different topics today. Obviously, the unification. You can see me. This Bassa man is ready. Is this a Bassa suit or a Fula? But I am an original, honorary Fula man. They call me Alhaji Jerome Ba Gaming. So I am traditionally dressed. If you are from Lofa, where we have the Unification Monument falling apart, no maintenance, no care. Our national symbol is crumbling. I think it's infringement. I saw that. It brought tears to my eyes. Our unification is important. We're going to delve into the history. We are also going to look at President Walker's statement today. He said that he did place a call or calls to former presidents and eminent leaders, including chiefs. But if you are a student of politics, there's something in politics called splitting hair. You notice President Walker didn't say, I spoke to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former president, or I spoke to President George Myean, former president, or I spoke to Benetta Ure, or I spoke to former presidential candidate Cummings. People want to know when you place the call where the phone answered. The former president, Ellen Johnson, answered your call. What was the call all about? The former president, George Weah, answered your phone call. What was the context of that telephone call? What was the message? What was the conversation? You notice President Walker never mentioned that he spoke with anybody. He could have made a call and hang up. He could have made a call and the phone rang 2 or 3 times and you hang up and say, at least I made a call. He didn't say, I invited them to join me at the executive mansion or at the pavilion to join the chiefs, elders, to discuss honestly the unification of our people. Then we are going to talk about a headline that caught my attention in the front page Africa newspaper. And it says, the Speaker Coons past taint his victory. And it delves into that. Will the past of the Speaker come back to haunt him? Will the Speaker be the Speaker of 43 men and women? Or will he be the Speaker for the entire House, including the group from the rule of law? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be looking at bridges around the country, particularly this going election in Nimba. We are looking at some bridges that you will only see during elections time. After all the gloating and wastages of the people's money, you see them campaigning on dangerous bridges. And after the elections, they will never return. And the people are left in abject poverty to continue their lives as they have always been until the next election. Liberia, people used to say we were at a crossroad, but how long have we been at this crossroad? Let's talk unification here. I went to the Library of Congress. I went to Google. I went everywhere. And let's look at the unification of Liberia, the history of it, the man who made it possible. And then we will look at the Unification Day reflection, a call for national consciousness and commitment by Councillor Nyenwolo Gongloe. Today, May 14, 2025. Have you read that? If you have not read it, we have it here. Let's delve into the history of our unification. The unification of the Republic of Liberia was a signature piece of legislation or legacy of President Tubman. President William V.S. Tubman. President Tubman's national unification policy was aimed to reduce social and political discrepancy or disparity between the American Liberians and the indigenous Liberian majority. It involved improving political and social relations, granting indigenous majority suffrage, eliminating property ownership restrictions, and increasing the representation in government. Tubman also sought to bridge the gap through personal interaction and addressing these grievances. That is the gist. The American man would say the crux of the matter. So if you were a historian or a revisionist, this is the history. This is what made President Tubman one of the greatest icons of Liberia. He saw the disparities. He saw that Liberia was a nation divided against itself. The Republic of Monrovia versus everybody else. At some point, he was far-sighted enough to know that this lifestyle, this management, this segregation cannot be sustained. Was he wise? Was the Kehleboe boy smart enough to have seen what was coming if nothing was done? So let's look at some of the details of this policy and what made it so important. President Tubman decided to address the disparities in our society. The policy recognized the existing inequality between the American Liberian minority and the indigenous Liberian majority who had been historically excluded from political and economic opportunities. Those are facts. President Tubman knew what was coming. He said, we better include the entire nation. This cake, this national cake, belongs to all of us. I know you have, if you are a student of history, you have heard President Tubman had a different take. He coined a term called gradualism. That's Tubman's way of addressing this particular issue. He believed in gradualism. He believed that we should incorporate the entire nation, but let's do it gradually, slow. Take our time to incorporate women, the natives, people from outside of Monrovia. Let's do it slowly, gradualism, gradually. On the other side, his predecessor Tubman said, We have to do this. It's a call to duty. Our lifestyle, our policy, our management style cannot be sustained. So let's look at the constitutional amendment. The Constitution was amended to grant suffrage to women and the indigenous majority, and legal restriction preventing the indigenous majority from owning property on the freehold basis were removed. Let's go to representation. Members of the indigenous minority was appointed to the legislature and to cabinets. This is serious stuff. Tubman was trailblazing. Let's look at the direct engagement piece. Tubman traveled extensively throughout the country, meeting with chiefs, ordinary people to listen to their concerns and forge personal connections. My people, relationship matters. You can't sit in Monrovia and effect policies without putting boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. You have to go to Vanjama. You have to go to Zozo. You have to go to Bema or Bama. You have to go to Lofa Bridge. You have to go to Mana River. You have to go to Bomi. You have to go to Nima. You have to go to Kample. You have to go to Basa. You have to go to Chen. You can't unify the folks by sitting at the executive mansion in Monrovia and running the country by fiat. So today I'm in my unification regalia. I'm in my unification regalia. Yes, today I'm the chief. I'm a chief. This is very important. President Tubman, trailblazing. And I'm going into the history because I'm going deep. This man saw something that even people today can see. Our lifestyle cannot be sustained. We cannot continue to live this way. You can't be a gangster in Monrovia and say you will run Kample, or you will run Mana River, or you will run Chen. You can't do that. You have to have boots on the ground. This is what Tubman said. He says our lifestyle and our policy cannot be sustained. We need to bring women. He granted suffrage to women. That means women could now vote on property, and women could take their own decisions. It is better to say that as educated and modern as Liberia was, that it took one man to finally put it into law that women can vote and own property. Isn't that something? Let me welcome my boss, Grace Guar. We are talking something that will actually impress you. I know you are an advocate for the right thing to be done. And this is right within your terrain. The suffrage of women to vote, to get involved in the politics. It was President Tubman. So today we are dedicating the opening part of this to unification. Your take.
Thank you, Mr. Gimmy. You look very nice.
Thank you.
I like what you're wearing, and that's how it's supposed to be. Liberians, we have our own culture, we have our own dress style, and this is actually a Liberian African gown and hat. That is the Liberian style, because most time we try to, copy these Nigerian style dressing, the Sierra Leonean style dressing, but now look at you, you are Liberian. You in Liberian, I don't know how to say tashiki or whatsoever, but you dress up.
Right.
You dress up like our people from the rural parts of the country, and I'm proud to see you look this way. And I want to say thank you for having me. I also want to say thank you to the audience for watching. As you know, my name is Grace Guar. And I want to say thank you to the people in the studio. A happy Unification Day to everybody, all Liberians around the world. Happy Unification Day. This is a beautiful day that we all have to rethink and know that in Liberia, we are all one people. We don't have separation because we are all Liberians as a whole. You know, although we have different dynamics when it comes to our tribes and everything, we have different diversity, but then the diversity has to unite us. And that's the beauty of culture. So happy Unification Day. I am so happy for the topic, Mr. Gayman, because I'm a woman, the first thing, and I have a daughter. And I had a mother. My mother passed away. I got sisters. So, I take women, when it comes to women rights and the opportunity for women, I take it very seriously. I have a farm in Liberia, and most of my people who own that farm, they are women. So, for me, my heart for women is huge. And it's not that I don't love my men, but I love my men.
That's
Because
correct.
in the USA, the Spora CMC, I got so men around me.
That's
My
right.
entire team is also men. And I'm the only woman on the team.
You the swat coco of the CMC.
Yes. I'm the only woman on the team in the USA. Diaspora, although my global chair, Francine, is a woman. So, but I love what the topic is, and I also my heart was in joy when I heard Honorable Musa Hassan Bedete come on the open air, and he dedicated a whole speech, thanking women on Mother's Day. That video, I watched it over and over again. The reason why I watch it like that is I haven't seen or Liberian men in leadership, not you now, Mr. Gayman, because you text everybody, you say Happy Mother's Day, but the people that are in power, for them to make videos to say Happy Mother's Day to the women of the world and the women of Liberia. We have not seen that. Our president never came out to say anything. Although the first lady is a woman, we never heard from her. We did not hear from the VP, for Jeremiah Kuhn. We did not hear from his wife. Is he married? Or is that girlfriend? I don't know. But he has a woman behind him. I will assume she's his wife. We did not hear from her, although she's a woman. But we wanted to hear things from the men as well to come, especially the men in leadership. So whenever Musa Belete came on and did that video, I was very happy. A lot of women were happy the way he talked to women about Mother's Day, how we made a word because we have to deliver children in this world. He said a lot of nice things about women, and I really appreciated that. So people like those, especially when it comes to men, in leadership, I respect them because it takes a toll, it takes a whole lot for our African men to do that. And we know that, and we don't blame them for it because the thing is our culture is different. But when we're in the world and the world evolves, you learn better and you know how to do those things. So I really wanted to say thank you to the political leader of Citizens Movement for Change for his dedication to women on Mother's Day. We really appreciate it. We as women appreciated that. And the reason why I said we as women, got at least 7 to 10 women call me and they were amazed that he did that, and they never heard anything from all the other leaders, especially our president, Joseph Nimabwaga. So, when it comes to women, I'm so happy that, most men now are accepting that women has rights in this world, that President Tubman was able to sign document for women to be able to vote, that even in the great America here, it took us until 1980 in America. That time was still in Africa, but it took until 1980 in America for a woman to have rights. To open a bank account in a business bank account, they wouldn't allow a woman in this great United States to open a business bank account and said she had a man with her. But it took other men to stand up for women. That today women are able to march to the bank and have a business and open a business bank account. Me and Francine just did that, and we were feeling proud. So I'm so happy you brought that topic on, and I'm happy that most men, especially Liberian men, who we love so much. I can't even imagine myself taking any money who not Liberian. Yeah. So, so who we love so much that I open it up now to say that, why we accept our women in leadership. We accept them to be part of us. We accept them to make decisions. We accept them to be able to have a seat at the table. We know that the decisions can be sound as well. And I'm not saying for all women, because some women got their discrepancies. Just have some men got their discrepancies. But women who want to see the better of Liberia, the women that stood with Honorable Musa Benete in the house yesterday and said that we will vote for the law. We will vote a speaker that will be opposing to the government. Those women I got respect for. And I will need them again. I just wanted to need.
Please do. Name
yeah, I just wanted to
I'm
need
saying this because, listen, Grace, and to our audience, there is no way you can unify the world when you don't unify your wife and your daughter at home. And President Torgbean in 1960 amended the Constitution to grant suffrage to women. This is huge. So today it's been dedicated, guys and girls. Our first part is unification. After Grace reads the names of the Ghanaian women, we are going to play some videos of people trying to divide our nation. As long ethnic lines, we are going, there goes Chief Pewee. He got his African regalia just like mine, so he's ready for the unification. It looked like he saw me and he ran and changed his shirt quick. I can see it. But welcome, Pewee. You are muted.
One thing, thank you for having a very great unification to you. One thing my mother taught me, and that tendency was instilled in me and my siblings, is that she always, and I can recall, stay very, very much young, maybe 4 or 5. I can still, my memory can still recall that. I was disciplined on 126, and my mother said this to me, that she showed her 5 fingers to me. She said they are not all equal and they will never be all equal. So ever since then, I learned to be very content with what I have and what I do. So I don't get moved when somebody do something. Yes, I just came on the show this way. I just thought to clarify that I don't get moved because someone is doing something. No, and that's why sometimes I say things with my conviction, and I don't say something because I believe group of people that I associate with believe in. So somebody didn't believe in this, so I just said, no, I didn't see that you wore this.
It was just a joke. Where's your sense of humor, young man?
No. I'm just saying. I know it was a joke. I'm just putting it in the other way. I know, my brother. I got you. You always have my back. But normally on this kind of a day, I'm unification day, and although the water is cool, but just being around, trying to reflect on tradition and other things. So sometimes, when I say you send this instruction, I always love to do this thing. I don't do it on a Friday, but I do it on a midweek and a Friday. Wear these kind of a traditional African attire, reflecting back on what we should do. Yeah, basically.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are going into the history of unification today, and then we're going to look at the text itself. We're going to look at where we are today. I saw a video where a gentleman who is also on a different platform telling folks that we will never vote for Mandingo man. It is not his time, and they want to do this, they want to do that. This is not what we are talking about when we say unification. And I condemned wherever that video came from, because I know he is not saying this. He is the vessel. He is a puppet. And the puppeteer, the ventriloquists, we call them, they are pulling strings. So 1960, President Torgbean talked about this and said, let us amend the Constitution to grant suffrage to women. So, Ms. Grace, you were about to read some of the great names of women that were on the battlefront yesterday, fighting to tame this tyranny of the majority. Read some of those names, please.
Yeah, some of the women names that came up. I don't know. Rookie Berry is not a woman, right?
Yes, I think. Yeah, that's a lady.
Okay, Rookie Berry. I have high respect for her. She voted on the right side of the law, and she voted for Liberia. The other woman that voted for Liberia was Ellie Atto Ware.
Okay.
Congratulations, Mrs. Ware. You stood your ground, because I know the kind of way they were passing money and telling you all kinds of things, but you said no. I will stand my ground with on the other side because I think this side will better Liberia. And she did that. I think these were the only 2 women, but I can read the names. Oh, because today I got the full list.
What's about Mama Bridge? Did she vote
She
for?
did not vote on our side. She did not vote on the side of Liberia. She voted on the other side. Yes, she's part of the Greedy Hunter Association. So I just wanted to say that. But the patriotic Liberians again, who stood against the status quo of Liberia, the law is the law, and they stood against it all odds. They stood against all odds. Number 1, Musa Hassan Beleti, Ta Wongwe, Ruki Barry, Sumokwali Moba, Samuel Ara Enders, Frank Safoko, Yeke Koluba, Edward P. Flomo, Muka Kamara, Abu Bana Kamara, Jerry K. Yobo, Marvin Cole, Bona Blue Benson, Eugene Colley, Zina A. Normo, Luther Collins, Matthew Zoe, Thomas Kashwa, Bentu Masale. Congratulations to Bentu Masale. She is a woman. She voted on the right side of the law. J. Fonati Kofa, Roland O.P. Cooper, Ellen Ato Ure, Alex S. Noah, Jacob Debbie II, Bese Sonel Fika. I don't know if this is a man, but then Dixon Sibo also voted on the right side of the law. Yesterday, we did not call Dixon because we're not sure. But I will apologize because I said he did not, but he did vote on the right side of the law. Those are the people. And among them were 3 brave women who stood their ground and said, we will vote for the Liberian people's side. And that's exactly what they did. Thank you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are familiar with those names, I think my brother Pewee is here. Some of the names like Bese, some of the names are unisex. So if we are calling less women, you know there are more women, please come into the chat room. Let us give them their credit. Give people their flowers while they're alive. This is something great. Mr. Pewee, Honorable Pewee, the first portion of our show is unification, and it says this: President William V.S. Tubman's unification policy was aimed to reduce social and political disparity between American Liberians and the indigenous Liberian majority. It involved improving political and social relations, granting indigenous majority suffrage, eliminating property ownership restriction to the majority, and increasing the representation in government. Tubman also sought to bridge the gap through personal interaction and addressing grievances by traveling around the country. Your take on the unification policy, and are we unified today? Are we following the footsteps of President Tubman here? You are muted.
If we are unified today, that's a very big and very difficult question to answer. As sometimes I want to say, it's a very huge question and a very difficult one to answer. But the answer to that, in my mind, personally, I don't think so. The country is heavily divided. And President Tubman, despite of him being a long-term leader of our country, as one want to call it, a dictator, if he was a benevolent dictator, to refer to him as a benevolent one, because he had control of the system. This is his national unification policy did go a far way on a serious note. You listen to most of the folks from the Lee War counties. They will say to you, they will hope that Tubman will stay the president of Liberia. Trust me, they will say that from the deeper part of their stomach. Right, they will say those things. So his unification policy was a strategic one, and what he did, to prolong himself in power, he managed to use the kind of a way of sharing money personally, as I said, personal thing going across the county, giving chiefs that got chiefs influence at the time some leverage and other thing and across the line. So he's thinking about unification of very strategic because he understood the political demography of our country. So he thought to balance that. It was quite unfortunate that Torgbean, that we expected to extend that, started push that language a lot, but he himself failed to do it because he was more nepotistic, right? He started bringing most of his family people into government and all those things. And part of that contributed to where we were. But again, if today, back to today reality, and I just read the note from the former president of our country. And that, of course, everything is also political. We try to do it in a more political way. And the current president also, he didn't prove. I don't know if there's message from the president. I just tried checking on the executive mansion website to see if there's a unification message from the president. I haven't seen one. If there's one, we have to retrieve that and see it. But what normally we do in every serious and civilized country where you want to foster unification, on this kind of a day, the president should have addressed the nation, read a script to the country. It will be scripted, read it to the country, and send this olive branch of unification across the country. See where the country is. And that would have been a kind of a way of the president trying to avert potential protests coming up, right? Directly speak to the people who are learned that this is coming up. My fellow citizens, we've come a long way. So what I intend to do, I intend to call a meeting of major political leaders so we meet and trash all the differences of the country. We are in a difficult time. Extend some olive branches, have a unification method. I don't know if he did that today, but I haven't seen one. But it would be very honorable on the part of any leader of our country at this critical time. Because we legislated this day for the purpose of unification. Why the president would not? I mean, the president is not even keeping the commitment of the legislation. There should have been an official gazette, Government of the Republic of Liberia Gazette, read, issued through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, published. He had the instruction of the president through the signature of the foreign minister of the republic. I don't know if they issued it. If they did, I haven't seen it. So I don't want to be that very mean or unreasonable to come and criticize that. But if they didn't do that, it's unfortunate. If they did, then they should have ensured the publication of that so many Liberians will have the opportunity to read the president's unification message. Probably the president did say some good thing in the unification message that they're trying to foster reconciliation, but we yet to see that. But from what the president, the former president said, he sort of missed call from the current president. A missed call first and a message, and then he replied to the message. That should not. Yeah, it's good that way. When last is Sunday up, and he also went on to say in that communication today that since January of last year, he hasn't spoken to the current president. If the leaders also, if the president is not fostering reconciliation, sometimes you move to do that also. Did he also say in the message that he reached out to the current president? If the current president is not doing that, is there sometime? So we hope to see some of these things unfold. I think all of our leaders are not ready for reconciliation. We shouldn't ship it on this current president to say this, but I hope to research it, and I hope we all can collectively check if there's one, we can display here and read it and what the president is saying. That's how I want to think. But I think we stay far from reconciliation. Yes, we stay far from it.
Grace, welcome to Dr. Peabody. Welcome. That's a great unification day here. You are muted, Henry.
Thank you. Good to see everybody. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Happy Unification Day.
Yes, we are dedicating the first part of the show to our unification. The question is, are we unified, and what is it that we are doing to unify our people? And we went to the history of President Torgbean, where he came from, what he has done, and the seed he planted. So the question here, Grace, we saw I listened to President Boakai's speech, the one that says he placed a call or calls to former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Yeah, he said, I just seen that. He said a good way call.
Yeah. But in politics, there's something we call splitting hair. He didn't say, I spoke with them. He didn't say They answer the call, or he said, I plays good, whatever call he plays. But he never said, I spoke to Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and this is what we spoke about, or I called to invite them under the Palava hut at the Unification Pavilion for us to have a discussion about bringing our nation together. He didn't say that. So he just said, I placed a call. Madam Guar, you are into communication, you read between the lines. What are you hearing here from our president? Say, for those of us who are waiting for him to say, I spoke with these folks and this is what we do, and from now on, let us get together and reconcile our country. He said, I place calls to these folks. Your take.
Well, what I'm learning from the communication is that because most time in communication, when people communicating directly, especially if getting on like a message, he will have said that he spoke, but he said he placed a call. So it means that he did not get to speak to them. He may have placed a call and maybe left a message or sent a text message. Maybe the call wasn't answered, but direct communication will prove that he will say, I placed a call and I spoke with Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and this is what, this and that and the other. So I'm not getting the sense that he was able to really communicate with these people verbally. Maybe he left them a message or he sent a text message and he placed the call, but the call wasn't answered. But the question is about why the call wasn't answered though? The call wasn't answered because the president has refused to reach out from the time he became the president of Liberia. He has not reached out, especially to President George Weah. Weah have a complaint on open air that he has not spoken to the president, which I thought was very wrong, because this is the man that you previously, so this is the man that you became president right after. How is it that you have no communication with him? Because in the sense that he just left office, you're supposed to communicate with him on a, at least monthly basis, once a month, or maybe after some time a quarter, just to get a sense of, how he feel about stuff in the country, being that he just ran the country. So, with that, I don't see no unification in that. And I just, in my mind, when I look how they carry on with the UP people, I just feel that this government, they don't want to be inclusive. They don't want to include other people at all. And that is not right for the country. You can lead a country, you can rule a country, you can have your partisan people in certain positions, but other people have to be included because we all are Liberians. You are not the president of Liberia. You're no longer the political leader of United Party. Although you are, but then you are the president of Liberia, so you are our president. So you're not communicating with past leaders and people that are in major position. It sends a sign to us that you are not a unifier. And I don't think President Bwaka is. The speech, he was reaching out now because he got what he wants. I think that's why he's reaching out. He was able to secure the seat in the House as the Speaker or Chef. He secured the regime Speaker. So he's satisfied with where he at. So I think he thought it was, now since I already have what I want, maybe I should not reach out to these people, because he should have reached out to them. All this time this saga was going on in the House of Representatives. I don't know whether he reached out to them, but it was not from communications online and with the media. We have no sense of him reaching out to these people to help to mend the broken wounds among the representatives and the divide that was between them. So right now, I just think that he's reaching out. And, in America, we straightforward talker will say he's fake. He's fake. He's reaching out now because he has what he wanted. He was able to secure a regime speaker. So right now, he don't care anymore because he knows he got control of all the budgets that will come from our house. So he reaching out to these people just to say, you know what, I reached out. This is Unification Day. So I reached out. But I just want to say before I turn it over to Henry Peabody, I want to say UP government, they are very good at propaganda. And they have been able to carry this propaganda until they got into where they were. Eugene Falcon, who is the LBS boss, I have no respect for him. I hope heard on the radio so he can hear that. He was able to do everything in his power just to secure a director position, not a cheap position. just to secure that position. And he did all kind of propaganda on people, information, people names, people personality and all, and he destroyed it. And they have continued in this government to do it. They are continuing. Joseph Boakai need to tell his people to stop this. I just saw a video of them destroying this man, Edwin Snow. Edwin Snow went on school and said something. They changed the whole video around and started saying Edwin Snow said another thing. They did the same thing to Honorable Musa Belete. He went to the UK and we were in that program. You came and were there. You know, Belete never said the things he said about religion. They went and made that whole video here. Yellow journalists, the journalists of the president government, half of them are not real journalists. Hey, yellow journalists took that video and clip it, and made a propaganda on this man, saying the men were talking that Eastern are going to take over Liberia. Now they're doing it to Edwin Marion Snow, saying Edwin Marion Snow say he wants Liberia to die. Now the yellow police stop Serena Seafors for documents that don't make sense. They not run the traffic light. You never stop him for traffic light violation and say, okay, or you stop him because whatsoever you stop him for, but now you're saying that he should go to court because his legal paperwork was expired. Why he have 30 days grace period to make sure that paperwork is intact? And he already applied for it and he will receive it before the 30 days expire. So his people are just targeting people. They're all the way they're in power, they're still targeting Liberians. And we are sick and tired of it. So Joseph Boakai now needs to unify the country. He already got what he wants. He got the House of Representatives. They are all under him. He got the Senate. They are all regimes senators, those of them from different parties, but they worship him and they do everything he says they should do it. In fact, they're in control. Now he got the judiciary, half of them, they buying down to him. He got the entire country that will say yes up to him. Leave our people alone and start using your yellow journalists and also your police officer who's stopping the people for no reason to destroy these people's lives. It's not a crime to be Liberian. It's not a crime not to be in United Party. United Party. It's not a crime. We choose what we want to be. So if we are not United Party partisan, we are Liberian. Start targeting the people and destroying their characters. Thank you.
Dr. Peabody.
Yes, sir.
President Torgbean etched himself into the annals of Liberian history. He is the father of modern Liberia. He's the father of this unification that brought our nation together. And here is his President Torgbean traveled extensively throughout the country, meeting with chiefs and ordinary people to listen to their concerns and how to forge personal connections with the people outside of Monrovia. This is the man. Now, before you go to that, Honorable Gongloe wrote something this morning. He said in 1960, President William V. F. Torgbean, through an act of the legislature, declared May 14 as National Unification Day, a laudable effort to bridge the divide between the descendants of American founding settlers and the indigenous majority. His unification policy aimed to promote inclusion, equality, and shared national purpose, particularly respect for the rights of all Liberians and the unconditional access to opportunity. Chief, President Torgbean did his share. Are we living up to the tenets of what President Torgbean saw almost 65 years ago?
Look, Mr. Gilman, good to see everybody here on the show. Good to see everybody. What I'm thinking on here is that we are not, since President Torgbean days, we have not lived up to that, and that's some of the problem that we continue to face, because since that time we have seen our country go down. The Liberian people, the traditional people, we said this is our time. And what we did, we took over. And what happened? It brought divisions among ourselves, our people. Liberia have not had unification since President Torgbean days. President Doe even tried to hold it together. And since then, we have not. But let me say this. I think it bothers me that President Barker reached out to President Weah. I think President Weah should have returned the call. Should have spoken to him. In that conversation, he should have shared his displeasure over some of the things that have been happening and what President Barker had done. That would have been a perfect opportunity to share that with him and say, you know what you did, or what the recent issue with the legislature and all that you've been doing. I will share with him and tell him how I feel. But ignoring or not responding to him doesn't make any difference of how you feel. You cannot express it because you refuse to talk to him. Liberian people want to see our leaders united. It's like being in a home. If kids see their parents not happy, it also divides the home, because they wake up every morning, they expect to be happy and expect to see the people who will pass down happiness to them in the home to do it. So I don't think anybody should be, we shouldn't say that. We know that President Wakai have done something that totally wrong, but it was wrong. I mean, he should have responded, say, call him and return his call. That was big people do, big leader would do. Even if I disagree with you, I would still talk to you. Politically, if we disagree, I will still spend that time and talking to you and tell you how I feel. It doesn't mean we are on the same page or we are together. But I think what happened today, I think it shows that President Barker remains the bigger one, because at least he was able to reach out in spite of all what's going on. He was able to reach out to him and share with him. And that's what we need today in our country. Because our country is draining. I mean, look what happened yesterday in the legislature. Legislature want to be above the law. Nobody want to be audited. You call for audit in the government, but you yourself don't want to be. You don't want people to audit you. So people have the way for money that they have stolen. They're moving on millions of dollars for things like office supplies and things, money that were taken. Millions of dollars that were allocated for different things for that house, and people mismanage. They're not accountable to anybody. So today we are not united. You see how divided. If you went to Liberia recently, you will see how divided past government and previous government officials are. They literally, everybody will be by themselves. They're not talking to each other. And what did we see yesterday on the internet? People who should be preaching message of love and reconciliation. You got Anthony Kesseley, who I don't know what he does. He hold the president a camera bag, or he hold the president a suitcase, writing all on Facebook yesterday, talking about sending these kind of hateful message around. You got a guy like Mo Ali and others who going on Facebook sending these provoking messages and things like that. Is that what we need? Is that what the Liberian people need? You know that Akun did not get that speakership the right way, even though they went to vote yesterday. But what happened after 7 months? What happened after they disregard the Supreme Court ruling? What happened after they threatened the Supreme Court that they were going to sue them? I mean, they're going to impeach the speaker stuff like that. So this was not a real fair way he wanted. They said they had an election yesterday. Then we have to go through the Capitol building being burned before we come to really adhere by the law. What was it? Go back in and vote the same way. Did they not go back and do the same thing yesterday? Only because it fell in the favor. I think we are far from unifying ourselves. We are very, very far. Unification is down in Liberia. We are not together. The country is divided. And I think we're in this for a long haul, not even with this government, but even other government that will come. Let's be honest here. Even in previous government, they were not unified. People felt that they had it and felt that 6 years wouldn't have come. So we shouldn't just hit on the Unity Party government, but previous government, the same thing. Some of the things that happened in previous government, that's what's happening now. So it makes it difficult for even folks in the previous government to come back and say this. So what you're supposed to do, let's come together and find a way of solving this problem. Ignoring the president call doesn't make sense to me.
A point of correction here. I got something here that Mr. Gray has just sent me, and I'll read it briefly. It says here, a statement from former President George Myean. Statement by His Excellency George Myean on Unification Day, May 14, 2025, Monrovia, Liberia. Today, on this May 14, 2025, I again wish all Liberians a happy Unification Day and urge us all to always act in the ultimate interest of our nation. Earlier this morning, I received a missed call from an unknown number, which was followed by a text from President Joseph Boakai wishing me a happy Unification Day and urging national unity. I responded to the message in return by also wishing him a happy Unification Day. I have not spoken with President Boakai since January 2024. I reiterate, the true unification is not based on superficial political gimmicks, but on the rule of law and constitutional order. I again urge President Boakai to respect the rule of law, respect the past and the present political leaders, and uphold the sanctity of our hard-fought democratic institutions and processes in order to foster national unity. May God bless Liberia, and is signed by His Excellency, former President George Nyenwolo. So,
yeah, but Mr. Gilman,
so it shows that we have received a call from an unknown number.
That's
we
correct.
Return that call because even me, I don't answer to unknown numbers. So how
let's say this:
president or past president will unknown number.
Nobody will call a president number or just call a number randomly. President number are selective, they are special, and anybody that called it definitely have a knowledge of him. The message today would have been more powerful, would have been nice if he had spoken to President Boakai and relayed that message.
But my thing is, no people have. Can you 1 minute, Mr. Gaming? I don't think this is fair to President Weah. You know me here. I will tell you as it is. That way everybody knows that. I will not buy President Weah at this point in time because everybody they like people believe in their minds when I say, oh, Weah, when I speak on his leadership that it was not good for Liberia, they get mad. But at the same time, I cannot sit here with my own conscience and not speak when wrong is wrong. President Boakai knows he was calling a former president. What does he have to hide that he had to block his number to call President Weah and say, oh, he calling the man on an unknown number? Did you expect President Weah to answer that? People can get people number all the time.
So how did he know the call came from President Boakai?
I just read it. He said he got a missed call. The missed call was followed by a text from President Boakai, and he responded in kind.
Yes, on the
unknown phone call or you calling with text?
He said an unknown number.
So
and then the unknown number was followed by a text, and he replied to the text. Honorable Pewee, this is the statement here from President Weah. He got a missed call from an unknown number, but then later on it was followed by a text from the president, and he responded to the president.
So after he responded to Weah, responded to him by text, and he really wanted to talk to Weah verbally, you think he would have called Weah by then? Weah would have known that, okay, they all knew number with the president, so I will call by. Let me he the back say I will call by, and then Weah will answer him. So this is not Weah did not do nothing with President Boakai. It's not a unifier, and we have to be true to say he should have called back. You cannot call a former president with an unknown number. We know you won't hire a number. You can always change your number. But make sure your number show you have texted him, say President Weah, this is former President Weah, this is me, President Boakai. I'm about to call you so we can speak. And then you call, but you just call the man from the unknown number so that the man was supposed to be answering all the unknown number. They might say, well, yeah, I'm president, I can't answer unknown number. So you must know what former president. No, Weah did not do anything wrong here. Let be clear. He did not.
Honorable Pewee.
Yes, thank you. And also, you're trying to say something. Go ahead.
No, yes, I just read. You listened to the statement that came from.
Oh yes. I thought while I was speaking first, I quoted part of the statement about he's saying he received the text and said this. But again, I will say what our leaders will have to be honest to us. That's what I want to say. And the path of reconciliation will be very firm and strong if the top, and Dr. Peabody said something very revealing, that even the home, if the head of the homes are not reconciled, and the rest of the folks, which is the kids, would also be troubled by that. our leaders will have to be honest to the people of the country and be firm in terms of this reconciliation process. Now, I find it a little difficult here, and we'll have to be honest to strike some balance. If the call came, and then the message came, so he didn't. In the statement you read, how did he identify the message? It came from President Boakai.
He said the president addressed him.
Okay, and the president addressed him. It came
Yes.
from President Boakai, and after
That's correct.
okay, and so he didn't. So it came from the text message and the rest of that.
That's
But I
correct.
thought, and in the message, I thought the right thing for President Boakai, but what he should have done was first and foremost, if the president didn't have this number, this is a new number because I believe they've been communicating before. The both men been communicating for some time before.
He made it clear. He said no.
I'm coming. He said since last year,
Since January. That's correct.
and that's why I said the both men been communicating before. Even when we are president, he and the then former vice president, they communicated. I can recall when we are president, Joseph Boakai visited the home of the presidency, then at the office of the foreign ministry where we were all having our offices. I think he paid a visitation then. So before that time, they've been having communication. So what I thought, Mr. Boakai, if now he went to the presidency for some security reason, he had a new number, they changed the system. I thought the text message would have been the first message to the former president. Send a text message to him, Mr. Former President. This is the current president. This is my number. I'm texting you. I'm going to call you on this number so we can have some conversation.
That's correct.
That's one of the things I thought he should have done. The best way to have done. So I hope this is not a cosmetic or the kind of a haphazard intent to say I want to foster reconciliation. I will pretend to say I called him when he not answered. I will news that the man called me. But if you don't do it the appropriate way, then it seems to be you're not sincere about it. And I think our leaders should be very sincere because the leadership is not showing the pattern of reconciliation, those kind of reconciliatory processes that will push to deep and sincere one. It's important. That will guarantee the rest of the lieutenant both from the current government and those that associate with the past government and those of us now that play an independent role. We want to say, yeah, this is genuine. We all should move and foster this kind of a reconciliatory game that is ongoing from the level of the leadership. But if you try to do it in a cosmetic way, and that is not long-lasting, then it's concerning. So I thought it was unfortunate the way he went about it because the man wouldn't know who is calling him, and if you have done that or so. But yeah, it's what I want to say. I want to encourage this current president to probably invite, because the man did it to you also, invite moving forward. After today, invite Mr. Weir to the executive mansion. Invite him. Take a call. And I can recall coming in Monrovia there, Mr. Taylor did the same. He sat from the comfort of the executive mansion and instructed that he wanted to see the late Dr. Claudia Sawyer. And there was a time Sawyer was not forthcoming. And President Taylor said, I am in charge. If I call you, you have to come. I'm the president of the republic. You know, there's some joke about it in the press conference, but they both met. What if the president were to send an invitation to his former president of our country? That's a good thing. So I would encourage the president to do that. But given the problem of our country is not always the leaders. The problem of our country, and I will shift the blame on the leaders because the leaders were elected by the people to lead the country. And that's why Article 50, the Constitution is clear, giving power to certain people, not all of the people. So if you, the president elected on behalf of the people, cannot do the job, you allow your handlers to dictate the affairs of the states, it's unfortunate. And that's one of the reasons why we find ourselves in the quagmire. Our major conundrum in facing reconciliation is our leaders themselves don't have the requisite power to push the agenda they want to push. They allow the handlers around them. And most of the handlers are selfish bunch of opportunistic elements that we want to push their selfish, narrow agenda. Very selfish, narrow agenda. If this selfish, narrow agenda is in the way of national agenda, trust me, to hell with, excuse me, they want to hell with the national agenda. That was unfolding. Probably President Boakai intended to do that. So, just do it when they may not do it, better the women, the country will move on, the country will not burn, right? The country will not burn. And it's unfortunate. And at this critical time, that's why I just called one of my friends just somewhere in the area to find out from him if there's a national record, how to call it, a gazette that will issue on this particular day, because that's a regular thing. There have to be a gazette issue on the unification day, issuing because there will be because following the proclamation, there will have to be a statement before the proclamation is read, and that will have to be read via the personal instruction to the foreign minister to do that. I'm yet to see that. I'm still trying to push behind the scene to see if there's one we'll see. But I think it was unfortunate that Mr. Bwaka didn't see this day to really push genuine and moving forward reconciliation that we all will have fostered to move the country forward.
Mr. Pewee, just before you go, I know you're going to go. You said something that touched on exactly what I was about to say. Because I listened to the president, one of the president's deputies, right, Anthony Kessley. And Kessley said, I have proof that we made a call. I don't have, saying that, I have proof that because people kept asking, did he call? Did he speak to anybody? Or he just placed a call? He said, all I have is we got proof. I will call on that we made a call.
I've been around some of the cycle, the way people around leaders want to behave, right? I've been around the cycle. My late father was also around the former president. He was around two former presidents, and he lectured me as to how people will behave there around. Everybody want to get something around. So Anthony Kennedy want to tell us now that he's someone close to the president. He's not. And he should be sure himself. So all the big money he spent doing things around the knee, son of I'm the glorified deputy minister. I want to say a glorified assistant minister, not even deputy minister. To be deputy minister for public affairs at the executive mansion, you push to say you work with this man before as policy about when you're president, all the competence and all this, and it's kind of thing they're pushing around there. Well, I would rather made a call to prove to people that he's close to the president. You're not close to the president. You're doing harm to this presidency, right? He's doing harm to the president, and that's what it would do. Everybody want to prove they've got this to exhibit around the place, but it's not doing good. The helpless around the leaders are the problem. So if any leader will come in to be very firm, decisive, right, politically balanced in terms of a thought process, he can push that real forward. Because if he won't read between the lines and say, hey, what you're saying to me is not good. On this kind of a day, then you say, oh, our dad in Memphis. No, the president should have, even to call the whole thing. Look at what happened last night in Ghana. In Ghana, what happened on Easter Sunday or whatsoever? The president of Ghana did a visitation to his former boss. You have to prove some level of reconciliation in the country. They inspire people. They inspire the followers. Both followers on all sides will inspire everybody to begin the process of mingling, right? And those kind of things, they are very important in enhancing genuine reconciliation. But we missed that opportunity. There's some serious missed opportunity, but the president can stay. We are working that process by reintroducing a reconciliation process that would just move the country through, and we all can move this issue. Probably they can cool the line sometime, but I think he still got the time to do it.
Siliki.
Mr. Before Siliki can I just wanted to say something quick on this whole call. People don't understand that you can text somebody with an unknown number, and the person can text you back, and you will receive the text, but the person can text that unknown number, but the person will never know your number, number one. Number two, the bullhorn is left with the president in power. He needs to make the call. This is unification day. President Bwaka needs to unify the country. The country is too divided on him. Now, I'm not saying the country was ready together when we had time there was a division, but his division is even worse. The country is too divided on him, and it's sad. He needed to place the call to the president, or he could also make one of his surrogates, who not saying that they got proof, to place that call and let the president know that President Bwaka is going to call you, former president. We are called one of the president, maybe chief of staff or something, and say, oh, President Bwaka is about to place a call to president. We are saying he felt that he didn't want his number for the former president to know his number. So he could have done all of those things. But he has to be the person in charge, because right now he's the head. It's just like a man in a horse. You're the head of the home. The Bible said that we who are Christian. Now, if you have confusion in your home, you're supposed to be able to make sure that confusion is fixed, and make sure that everybody, you talk to your children and make sure everything happens that Peabody said. You cannot, there cannot be a disconnect in the home. But as the head of the home, who is Bwaka is the head of the country, he's supposed to be reaching out to these people, especially on a day like this, Unification Day. So if you reach out to the former president or unknown number, they may answer that number because you don't know it's you. Then you texted him on the number, he texted you back. Anybody would think if Baga really wanted to speak to Ria on the phone, when Ria texted him back, he would have called him right away back and say, okay, since you texted me, I'm calling back. Ria will answer that call because he was going to know now that this unknown number is Baga calling from this unknown number. So it's just a fair thing to do. The president is not ready for unification in the country. He's a very divisive president. Baga is very tribalistic. It's true. And we just have to be able to say it. And we say it now with hate, but we say it for him to change things. Because Liberians need to be unified. We need to be united. They have destroyed the country too much with tribalism, religion, divide. Prophet Key is going right now and saying things what Jeremiah Kun would like to say, because the reason why I say we see Jeremiah Kun with Prophet Key on a campaign trail, and Prophet Key started there talk about Mandingo people. He divided them from Nima County, and the vice president said nothing. So maybe it's a way of politics. They want to divide the country until they divide the country to nothing. So we were telling them that the country no longer needs to be divided. President Baga needs to reach out to these leaders that he got on the blacklist and reach out to them and you unite the country. That's what he needs to do. That's the right thing to do. When you want to be president of a country, you have to put your pride aside and be able to unite your people. Thank you.
Siddiqui.
Before you go on quickly, yes, the foreign minister did issue a proclamation on unification. They are just so you can go there just in the. Okay. I just put in the chat there. Yes, they just sent it. Just received it. So yeah, it came from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was issued.
Great. Thank you for holding the
yeah, it's key on this also. He mentioned about it. I just kept us somewhere about congratulating Kun for his victory and asking him to read across the line to reconcile the ballot. He also commended the former speaker Fanatikofa. I think you go Fanatikofa for bringing the impasse to a permanent total finalization or other things. So it's low, but it's there. So you're gonna go and see it. So but yeah, it did issue a unification statement.
Thank you.
Mr.
Siddiqui, during the inauguration process in Liberia, there was an iconic photograph, and Pewee and everybody that saw it. The three presidents, former president and president, held hands like this. Ellen Johnson on one side, President Weah on one side, and President Joseph Walker in the middle. And they held hands. I think Pewee can remember that photograph.
Yes.
And the whole world said, we are getting somewhere. And then in the midst of that, we saw yesterday the chairman for communication for STAN, Mr. Alexander Toga, BLS said, all 9 representatives from Nimba County will vote against Musa Ability, with the exception of 2, he said, Musa Ability and somebody else. So everybody will vote against him. And then a few hours later, we saw Prophet Key with his video that this country will not elect a Mandingo man, irrespective of his qualification and his competence and all that. They say Mandingo people will not be elected. Their country is not ready and blah, blah, blah. But my disappointment, though, the president's office have not come out to condemn, to distance themselves from such a vile statement, and to make matters worse, the Mandingos that are in this administration, including Anthony Kesseley himself, they have not come out to say something, to denounce, to condemn, to distance themselves, not on behalf, even if not on behalf of the administration, but on their own private pages, to denounce such a vile statement when we are celebrating unification. Is this how we're going to celebrate the unification of this country? What does they do to follow our unification, Mr. Krumah?
Look, Mr. Jerome, good evening from my end, and good evening to everybody on the show and to our panelists, to our followers, rather. So here is the thing, Mr. Gamer. Earlier on today, I saw that release that the executive mansion put out, and the president talked about how he reached out to the former presidents, both Mr. Salif and President Weah, and some eminent leaders in the country, which includes Banana UA and Mr. Cummins. But here is the thing, to come, just few minutes later, a few hours later, to realize that, the president did not, speak to the former president George Weah. When you call somebody, they makes a call, you send a text, you can't come publicly and say, I spoke to the person. That's being dishonest. And Joseph Boakai is an 80 plus years old man that we all consider to be your father. Even if we want to spin this thing around and say that he met in circle, but he, for the fact that he did not, speak to President Boakai, he would have suggested that, look, if we call him, let's just make it clear, since they want the public to know that we attempted reaching out to former President Weah, but we could not get hold of him and all of that. But you come and lie to the people and send a picture out that you spoke to the people. Only for, President Weah to come up and say, we receive a missed call from, some unknown number and, followed by a text message. This is dishonest. And look, let me say this.
Sidiki, do you agree text message communication also? I want to be somehow honest on the same thing. Do you agree with text message communication?
Yes.
So you can say he is dishonest in the communication. So I mean, they are two text messages and the communication.
One text message cannot be the communication.
No, you said the man responded to the text.
No, I'm coming here, brother.
No, I just want to ask you that question. But you can go ahead.
If I come on the show and say I spoke to Sylvester Pewee, I placed a call to, and that is why I was in the statement, that he placed a call to the former president, and that whole picture, if Joshua was not going to come out with that statement, all you felt in your mind is that they spoke on the phone. So there's no way for you to for to spin this thing around. Everybody thought that they both spoke. Even some of the supporters of the Unity Party, they posted on the social media that President Boakai called George Weah and they spoke for 10 minutes. They were very direct, And here is the thing: you can't do this. And to your question, Mr. Jerome, I don't think President Weah, but President Boakai, this calling calling people together and all of that, yes, it's necessary to some extent, as Sylvester, point out some historical event in the past that other people did. But what is more important right now at this moment is for this president to respect the rule of law, to stop targeting people because they are seditions or they are oppositions or they have, opposing views to his leadership, or maybe they are not members of his party and all of that. And to respect the rule of law, and everything will fall in place. And let me just close on this, Mr. Gaiman. The first thing, this president and the Unity Party, the first group of people they started making confusion with, and I think they should reconcile with, is the people who brought into power. Ask yourself a question today: where is John Molu? Where is Amara Kone? And where is Martin Colley? So these are the people that should be reconciled with. So George Weah and other opposition leaders, as you name the rest of the people here on the show today, they are just minor, characters in this case. But the president himself, John Molu, raised thousands of dollars for this president election. Who then for this man to suggest that, look, all the people you want to appoint part of a vetting process, they blacklisted him. Amara Kone, they did the same thing to him. Where is this guy today, the rescue Rambo? Today, he's an advocate, Martin Colley. So these are the people that should be recognized. And I'm not even talking about ordinary partisans who every day they cry on Facebook. And I have a screenshot, maybe I'll share in the chat room. Just yesterday, Mo Ali posted a partisan who walked in the poo water of Mr. Gaiman. That man went on a Mo Ali post and said, I regretted why I voted for Boakai and many of you get job. Mo Ali said, go withdraw your vote. That was the response for Mo Ali. The man said, go withdraw your vote. And for me, I like that kind of response. Even this guy called Mohammed Ba, the special envoy and all of that, he shared a personal message between him and Sylvester Tevez now. I don't know if some of you know Tevez. Tevez used to work with Costa and still work with Costa. So the struggle that this guy Mohammed Ba is enjoying today, that Tevez started this thing. So Tevez will reach out to this guy and say, my man, you're ambassador now. Don't be posting all kind of things on Facebook attacking people. Calm down. Pull him, wake up and post a private conversation between him and Teves. And this guy, let me say this to you. There was I think few days ago, one of his schoolmates or classmates, he posted something and this guy came on and said, Mohammed, my own brother, we used to be in the same school, but now I text you, as I listen to you, don't even know me anymore because of this position they've given you. And this is exactly how he responded to that person. My man, you asked us to say, I owe you so much. I don't owe you anything. Yeah. Have you ever spoke? You see me anywhere? You spoke to me. I didn't answer you. And he used that same word on Teves today that you don't owe Teves anything. And Mohammed Ba cannot even be an ambassador in a serious country. Mohammed got this position because of recommendation, because he used to be friends with Joseph Bagachore. And then they recommended him to their father. They gave him this position. And now you are not being nice to other people you've been friends with. So they need to reconcile with their partisan people that fight for them, that went in people water, and raise money for this election or the power they've gotten today. So this thing about reconciliation, for me, I think the Unity Party and President Bouaka should do the right thing. Once you do the right thing, you leave people who are seditious in attorney positions. I think something will start on that. But you can't target people because they are seditious, they are members of the opposition, they are ANC partisan, they supported people, outside of your political party, and you target them just because of that. And you send a, base call to somebody and say you spoke to the president. Only for the president to come up and say,
Mr. Siniki, one minute, let me interject here. So, a particular tribe, the Mandingos, are being attacked by other Mandingos in this administration. Why are we not? Why is not becoming a national issue?
Mr. Gamer, I think I forget to touch on that. I don't believe that other Mandingos in this government, have been attacking other Mandingos who don't support this government. I don't think that is correct. That individual you mentioned, Prophet Key, with all due respect, and no offense and all of that, I don't think we Liberians we should be taking anything serious coming from that guy. And that's Prophet Key. He's a hustler. The guy, even the Joseph Bouaka man he's supporting, he not called Joseph Bouaka before. And some of the insults he sent to Bouaka, I don't want to mention that yet. And so this is a man that just calls anybody at any time. So I don't think it's very important.
1 minute. He's channeling something here because this man was in Nimba when Koga and those other people were insulting folks. Exactly what they said. That's why he continued to channel.
No, but Mr. Gaiman, again, once you trying to quote from Prophet Key, I don't want to respond to Prophet Key. I don't want us to give it credence. Prophet Key is not, to be honest, is not normal. This guy wake up and just speak anyhow you want to speak to anybody. Yes, I agree with you, he's being backed by people in the government. That is true. But I don't want us to, really focus. If somebody permanent in Nimba can come up, and say this about Musa Belete or the Mandingo people, this is something that we can talk about. But not Prophet Key, Mr. Gaiman. Prophet Key is, Prophet Key don't work our response when it comes to attacking Mandingo people and all of that. I understand, I clearly understand that. And there's allegations about the legislative caucus of Nimba could not support Chairman Belete. I think Chairman Belete himself made a clarity on a page that he don't believe because of his tribe and all of that those people decided not to support him. They all from different parties and all of. So I think that's a fair analysis. But for us to be responding to Prophet Key, I think we're going to be elevating this guy. And I don't think he deserves that. For me, that's just my response to that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Pewee, welcome, Mr. Gay.
Thank you for having me.
Our first portion here is unification, grace. Mr. Wise, right? He gave his unification message in Sino. A man who wants to unify the people, but refused to recognize the senator that beat him. He refused to recognize the man that beat him. But yet he's asking the people from Sino and the people of Liberia to unify. What a hypocrisy. Elections are over. Mr. Duncan won this seat. He is the legitimate senator for Sino County. Why will you address the people of Sino on Unification Day and disrespect the senator and say you are uniting the people? Grace,
Well, I mean,
your good friend, that's your good friend.
who?
Your good friend coming in, we say.
Oh Lord. But my thing is that I don't understand why is it that we are surprised. Even the Liberians around the world, for some reason, sometimes you just can't comprehend why Liberians act the way they act. I don't know. I equivalent it to the war that happened in the country. A lot of people need help. They need to go to counseling. They're traumatized. And I'm not saying it because I want to exempt myself. No, I'm a Liberian. I came to this country and I went to counseling because I just wanted to help myself. I came from a war situation where I lost my one parent who was a single mother. So I went for help and I was getting it. So maybe that's why I want to really just calm down sometimes with these people. But how can you talk about unification when you have you yourself cannot even communicate with somebody who has won you in an election and shake their hand and say, you know what, the election's over, we need to move on. Why are you still holding? This man never went to the post and voted for himself. The people voted for the man. So I think the people who you even talking to, you should be mad with them and not the man in power. But these are the things that Liberians, do, especially the people trust leadership too. And it's sad for us to continue to see, but it comes from the head. The head is rotting. The president himself is not a unifier. As we can see, there's discussion here tonight that he could not even call his, or ex-presidents and talk to them, especially President Weah. He has not interacted with this man for so long. And knowing that he was just the president in place before Baka took over. So if he's not doing it, he's the father of the home. I keep on going after that. I don't know about some of your fathers because, everybody different. I know my husband is a father. And every time there is a disagreement, my husband make peace with us. And he's the one who call for, peace. And he will make sure everybody give their grievances. Sometimes if he can't come to a conclusion, he will call everybody one by one and have a meeting later on when he has spoken to everybody and bring us together. That's why they call a father. Joseph Baka don't have that qualities. He don't have it. So he's not going to unify the country. So if he cannot unify the country, what would you think about a man who lost the senator position to his friend? He would be preaching on reconciliation, but then finish leaving that he is not even able to reconcile with somebody who did nothing to him but just won an election. And that's where we are, and this is all destroying the country by the day. That Bureau have reached to a place where we are in nothingness. The country, certain part, even in Monrovia, you go certain parts still look like a village because our people do not know how to work together. Working in the great United States of America, I work with so many teams, and you see how the people work together. They try to push one another because at the end of the day, everybody will make something out of this. They will all make some kind of money, but they because you're on a team, so they will push you because at the end of the day, that team will shine. But we don't know how to do it. We all about self. We want to be the one that shines in everything. We want to be, so if we're not on top of something, then it doesn't go on. If we are not on top of this thing, it shouldn't happen. It has to be me or else nobody else. How about just working with somebody who on the top and then the whole community shine because of that person on the top, but you were part of that process. So those things have set the country back. Our people don't know how to be united. We are experiencing it here in different areas of Liberia. You try to, form different groups in areas. You see one person will come with undermine the whole thing just break down. So I don't know why. I cannot put my hands on it. I have worked with so many different people from different walks of life, and I have not seen these kind of things in their culture. So it would take a while, but the main thing is in Liberia right now, we need a good leadership. I think the leadership will set the trajectory for the country to be a better place. We have not gotten new leadership in a long time. And we hope that come 2029, Liberians will think again to vote in a leadership that will bring the country together. You know, a leader that will bridge that gap, you know, that gap of tribalism, the religious divide, the hate, you know, and everything will bring us together as one. And I'm looking to see, I always pray to God to give me long life to see that happen for Liberia. Because at the end of the day, we all just love the country because we come from there. Thank you.
Great. Anthony, you just got here. We started with the first half. We started with our unification theme. But we're going to ask you to start with the second one here. There was a beautifully written article in the Front Page Africa, and it says here, I read it. It was just splendid. It was the editorial actually. They say Coon's rise, a victory tinted by past deceit. That is the title. That's the editorial. This is not just a regular stuff. This is the editorial. And I'll read a little bit of it here. That elections of Rachel Coon, Nyenwolo Coon, as Speaker of the House of Representatives on Tuesday, following the resignation of J. Ford Antikufa, brings formal closure to a deeply unsettling chapter in the country's political journey. But while the leadership vacuum has now been filled, the constitutional wounds remain fresh, and the odor of hypocrisy continues to linger in the halls of power. Let us be unequivocal that Coon, the so-called majority bloc, an element within the executive, were fully aware that his initial claim to be speaker to the speakership was illegitimate. The Supreme Court April 23rd ruling merely confirmed what legal experts have argued for months. Coon's assumption of the role violated both the letter and the spirit of the Constitution. With audacity and calculation, Coon and his ally attempted to sidestep constitutional norms, distort public perception, and insult the intelligence of the Liberian people. What we witnessed was not democratic leadership. It was an orchestrated campaign to institutionalize impunity under the guise of majority rule. President Bouakar's role in this saga is equally troubling. His poorly judged response to the Supreme Court's ruling only heightened the suspicion of the executive complicity in this saga. Your take on an splendid, well-written editorial. This is not an article. This is an editorial. You are muted, son. You're supposed to be the IT man. You come here, your microphone can't work, you can't fix it. But where you selling? We can't. Dr. Peabody, this guy works for Verizon. If you got,
embarrassing, turning all over the place. It's turning from right to left.
Maybe
upside down.
Maybe we're not hearing you. We're not hearing you.
You know? No, Bob, Mr. Gilman, I think.
You are not paying, you're going to coin off.
Whoever wrote that article today, I think they are genius who wrote that article. And it was something I was trying to allude to before yesterday, that you go in a bar, you're wearing t-shirt, the law is the law, you're stealing Mr. Musa Bede word that stood by the law, you're running all over the place, the law is the law, you're wearing t-shirt for nonsense. But exactly what that editorial, what he wrote today, it was exactly what we're experiencing. You know, I would be embarrassed to ascend to a position like that, where the building got burned. They arrested some people. They got them in jail still. They are not free. Those people, they are still in jail.
Can you hear me now?
You pay your bill? He current now.
I didn't for that again. All you're calling up.
They always call it up, man. You gotta pay your bill in advance.
Whatever you say,
You
we
can't wait to the
we
you can't wait
agree.
to the quarter that you go pay. You pay in
Yeah, you know.
The man back strong now. They're not being
Anthony, you next after
Yeah, that bit of that Peabody.
Some of those people are still incarcerated, and you know, it has not healed the wound. I wonder how he would walk around that Capitol building and acting to say he's leading people. People are still hyped, and some of those grudges will go for a very long time. You know, people will be pissed for a very long time. But I said yesterday, there's a saying that John won't stay in the army too long. Watch and see what's going to come. The Liberian people got a saying, what goes around comes around. Today you can laugh, you can wear a white t-shirt and talk about the law being the law, but you sat there and disregard it for months. Even when it said that you were not the speaker, just sat there and disregard it. But because it's in your favor, now you are coming up. The law is the law. You're doing it. But what goes around comes around. And your white teeth can be shown today. The next time, it will be something different. Because I don't expect any confidence from the Liberian people in that leadership. I don't think Liberian people would trust them. I don't think Liberian people regard them as anyone that can represent them to even bring any change. The 43 representatives who from the different counties, I don't see them bringing any change. They are a bunch of corrupt kingdom. I'm telling you, that all they're going to be there. In the first place, you're sitting there and taking money and for months, only because you're only chasing the money, but you're not ready to doing anything to bring benefit to your counties. And even my own representative, they got from Grand Bassa, Orange Grove,
Bonnie, yeah,
a bunch of poo pots that I would call them, because they ain't doing nothing, and nothing they would do, they would just get money, rob big cars, and make for nothing news, and then 6 years later, they will be like the other one then who left from there and can't even afford a car. That's how they're going to be. But I think that the editorial was excellent. He wrote it. The president screwed up very much. He really was like he's not on top of nothing. It's that he lost control of his own leadership. He lost control of everybody. And but the only thing he had control was to look how they use President Bouaka to sit there and misinterpret the Constitution and say we'll work with the majority, we'll continue to negotiate with the majority black and all those kind of things. Then you got a justice minister who we thought was one of the smartest in Liberia, and he turned to what the Liberian people call mumu, just for the money business. All vla is vla. Let me end here, man.
Great. Mr. Gay, so the editorial board, that's the editorial board. This is not an individual. This is the board, the editorial board, and their take on the saga.
Thank you. Yeah. First of all, good evening to everyone. And I've been away. This weekend we were in Louisville, Kentucky, in the Midwest for the Grand Jury Association 50th anniversary convention. So that's where I spent my weekend. But I want to say thank you to the crew. You guys held it down, and our people in there following the event. Look, just to what that the Peabody was saying. Our nation have gone through a lot, and I'm disappointed in the regular citizens of Liberia. When the Supreme Court headed down her rulings and said that Fanati Kofa was the legitimate Speaker of the House of Representatives, and everything that the majority black did was unconstitutional. They said the exact same thing on December 6th using the word ultra-virus. They didn't change it. They just clarified it. That's all. And there was no support from the Liberian people. I am a beneficiary of a protest. My being in America came about 2 protests. Fighting for me. I didn't win no DV. I came here because we protested. And so I know what protest can do when it's organized.
Pewee, man, you gotta go talk to the Varasan people to help this man. Pewee,
No, I want to. I mean, my comment partner. I will see on. I think we got to studio for to make some money for them.
yeah, man, they're making us look bad. But Pewee,
Yeah.
has this man, has his past, will his past come back to haunt him, as this editorial board has clearly stated that his past is haunting him and will continue to haunt him?
Oh yes. Listen, the editorial there. And which other paper is that?
Front Page Africa.
Yeah, it's a front page. It's one of our renowned and very reputable, both online, given most of us in the diaspora basic and factual information in the country. But again, it's not an issue to argue. Yeah, the Front Page Africa editorial is very always been powerful, and yes, Rodney and his editorial staff, the editorial decision is very powerful. And yes, and if the current administration is not going to take things lightly, it may just come to haunt him. And it's important that we begin this process of understanding to be very strategic in how we want to do things. So I think what they will have to do is to begin the process themselves of looking around and see, maybe do some in-house checking and see how you can fix things. And that he writes. So I haven't read the editorial. I would have to take some time to, I don't know if you can send it to me or later, but I'll take the time and actually read it, and if I can follow. But yeah, he do have to be mindful that the past is just a kind of a cycle we always find ourselves in the country. In terms of the way leaders position themselves in the way they carry on their leadership process, it can be a problem to come back and just hit you high. So we have to be very mindful as to. But I will make a more detailed comment to that after reading the statement.
Yeah, but yesterday, one of the government officials posted in here, in our chat room here, or in the comment section, when he said we have secured the House, we have secured the Senate, we are awaiting to secure
the
judiciary, and we will do what we want to do, and 2029 is sealed. You may say they may have been saying it through jovial manner, but this is what they say. They say when the launching man is dying, drowning, people think he's laughing.
I told Tomalin the last time, he said, "Oh, the program." I said, "Hey, they may have succeeded in this one." And yesterday, finally, did the right thing to elect the 55th. I think the speaker of the 55th legislature. But one thing I would love to send as a caveat is that they will have to be extremely mindful to not plunge the country. I don't think this president will be the one, our uncle, because we love peace. Will be the one to plunge the country back into a very dangerous situation, even likely to just destabilize the society. If people believe that you will not perform and want to move and say election time, you say, hey, you pronounce yourself winner, and then everybody will just sit for their arms and begin to clap with their feet, you may be in a dream world. And as Mr. Taylor said before, and other things will happen, the democracy we're in is not the time that you come and steal on elections and believe it will go unpunished, or it will go on, if not a challenge. So I don't think they want to, because it's kind of a challenge. If you were to blatantly steal the elections, you don't expect people to go sit down, oh no, they steal the election, the waiting on going, no, you don't expect that to happen. So I don't think they're going to do that, because you don't want to be governing a country that yourself will not be able to sit in a very place you govern. So I don't think it's important for to say that. For me, if we were to go through the system and the government perform well, go to election, win an election in a free, fair, and transparent manner, that is okay. But if you want to believe that you're going to take all those institutions and believe that you will just move, maybe at that, listen, the honeymoon period will very soon be over. The guys both in the Senate and the House, the government does not have complete control of them. Here's what I would say this. Every individual in there, they are there for their personal interest. Most of them, not every, sorry, let me retry that statement. Majority of them are there for their personal interest. And there are some of them are very critical that they are there on the ideological basis, right? So some of them will stand fair. If things are not unfolding the right way, they will come out and challenge the system. Then what the system going to do, and they want to have that continuously. To always say, okay, if you want to set it into their pass through, you have to get some money and bankroll the corrupt lawmakers, right? And then have it pass on your behalf. So you have to start funding millions of dollars to do these things. So there's going to be challenge soon. And then you have the ideological ones that are there, committed to the country, trying to see some transformation, right? Those guys will want to push the interest of the country also. So we're going to see some area that's going to strike the balance. And I wouldn't be totally disappointed in what's going to unfold. And I don't know how they're going to go about it. Say, yes, you can go and appoint the next justice, and I mean to replace the Chief Justice and Deputy Chief Justice of the Republic. If Shannon is out, I don't know if you appoint somebody there, because before there was this order of precedence, right? That's the reason Madam Salif did that. Mr. Wiyakin did the same. I don't know what Ambassador Barker going to do as in terms if he would just move to appoint someone from OSA to take on to be the Chief Justice, or he's going to appoint someone from the bench, one of the Associate Justices as the Chief Justice, and appoint a new Associate Justice. It is his prerogative. He got that power to exercise said right. The Constitution gave that authority to him. And I wouldn't challenge if you were to appoint. The only thing you have to do, the only time I will have problem with if you appoint me as the Chief Justice, I will have problem with it. Then I will sue him for appointing me Chief Justice. That's the only thing I will have problem with. But if you were to, if you appoint me or also any non-lawyers, that's the sense I'm trying to push, right? If you were to appoint Gimmon or Anthony here, then I will sue him. But if you were to appoint a lawyer, because the Constitution, the rule for that job is clear. You should be a lawyer of the bar of the Republic of Liberia, right? Understanding. So that is his right to exercise that right. So if that is the case, if you're to appoint, no, I don't have a problem with that. But where the Liberia will have problem, it's for you to you think you can use the court or weaponize the judiciary in your parochial interests. That's going to be the problem. And I want to believe sincerely that that's not going to happen in this new democracy process. This dispensation is such that everyone is very proactively engaged into the politics. And I don't think we're going to sit and allow people to steal the show and where other are sitting. We have serious brave men and women staying back in the country. And they're going to play a role to protect the sanity of our democracy. We have to protect the interests of this country moving forward. We have to do it peacefully. There's no intent to disrupt the peace, but those that are even with the authority to protect the peace, they don't do it. We will draw that authority from them and ensure that the peace will be protected.
Mr. Anthony Gay, I know you are at work. Your boss may be standing over you, but we're
no, I don't have a boss there, man.
Okay. The possibility of Joseph Boakai, according to the
you freeze again, will not bring you back you.
No, somebody called my phone.
Okay.
Gotcha.
According to the government official yesterday,
I hope you don't grant you that you want to put 2 foreigns though.
No, he generated your ambassador.
Right now, I'm excited because our union raised enough money this weekend, and the largest crowd ever put out. The most money ever raised at a convention was this past weekend. So
you say in Kentucky?
No, I'm back.
You might be like, what was the ambassador's name? The one that was here. I think he was in the bush somewhere.
I'll be in Kentucky this August to attend the Great Basel People program.
Okay. How do you country program organization maybe that after us? You know that, right?
Yeah.
Pewee.
You know what? We're gonna be having a program in Kentucky this August.
Yeah, don't matter, man. You know
what? The Barcelona they are doing well.
You know what? Better since 1972.
The Bongis, they are doing well.
No. You know what? Be around 72 and then they won.
71. Excuse me, 71. So
91. You know what? We established after the war came. 1991.
But man, we were the very first group.
You know what? Established. I think 91. I've seen it correct. I
want
to think it was 91.
You know what? We found in my living room.
You bastard, man! You don't know when it was from there.
You know what?
I'm telling you now. You know what? We found
1991.
Listen. You know where we found it in my living room in East Orange, New Jersey.
But then after the war, then.
Listen. It was
1991.
They were doing the war. I mean,
listen. It was never Unibois. You know what I mean? United. The Bazard Association been around. They had different names, and so they decided to unite, bring them under one umbrella. They call it Unabwa. I mean, the child had grown. We are not separated anymore. That's what it is. But I think started with Tonwawee then. When they came in 1971, they started.
You know how the Grand Jury Association upon that?
I ain't going there. But let's talk about the Supreme Court here. The United Partisans are saying we have strong arm the lower house. We have the Senate.
The child has grown, or the child is growing.
You know, boy,
Yeah,
the child has grown.
The child is growing.
No, the child has grown. You want to boy? Yeah.
Okay.
So what they were saying here is what the man was saying. We have strong arm the lower house, or not the lower house, the House of Representatives. We got the Senate. We are awaiting June to take over the judiciary, right? Yeah. So you see the actors now who are eyeing that job. One in particular is the Justice Minister, right? That's the job that he wants. Towa wants to be Chief Justice.
The man who can interpret a lawyer,
upside down. That is the kind of man that you're going to have. Joseph Boyga going to appoint as the Chief Justice, so they can read the entire Constitution upside down.
You made a Chief Justice, you know what you say? you say, President Baka, when even the Tony got put run to the Supreme Court, you say everybody brought the company should put it in the jail first.
That the man who went on OKFM he went on OKFM, and Julius J brought up the situation with not Julius J, what's his name? Clarence Jackson brought up the situation with the mob justices in the country, and noticeably the recent one that happened, what the guy was, two guys were beaten to death and stoned to death in the public, right? The Chief Justice said, they have to gather more evidence and investigate. So I said, what other evidence do you need? If video footage evidence is more of enough. The man was stoned to death in broad daylight and they were recorded. What other evidence do you need? So when you have a Chief Justice of this caliber,
Justice Minister
of this caliber, then you know your country is in a serious mess. You have a clear video footage that show how the guy life was ended, where people went after him and kept stoning his head, and one other guy said, "That's finishing." You can hear him clearly and see his face clearly on the video.
Boom. Yes.
And the Justice Minister is saying they need more evidence. They need to do more investigation before they can make any arrest. This is the man who is seeking to be a Chief Justice of the country. I mean, something wrong with that picture. You don't have to be a lawyer to see that this man really don't care about implementing the rule of law of Liberia. Now, to the point I was making earlier, yes, Fanati made history for standing up to for the rule of law, but the Liberian people let him down. This would have never happened in the Ivory Coast. Because I was in the Ivory Coast and I saw what happened there. When you have somebody standing up like that, he needs your ultimate support. Fanati did not do it for himself. He did it for the nation. He did it for our constitution. He did it for the rule of law. He could have left that scene long time. But for the ordinary citizen to have the opportunity tomorrow for the law to be on their side, that's what he did there. And for the Liberian people to fold their hand and say, it is all among them, that's why he resigned. If there was going to be an outpour of support, people getting in the street for the way in which the president said, you're going to work with Koro, this outcome, we wouldn't have had it. You understand? Mm-hmm. Like I said, we stood up for ourselves. That's why I brought us here. If not, we did it in a foreign land. But guess what? Many Liberians told her in Abidjan, my man, y'all get wasting your time. The very same people that were telling us we were wasting our time, when we succeeded in the protest, were the same one begging, my man, can you talk to the people so they can add our name to the list? Can you talk to the people so they can add our name to the list? because they knew now we're coming to America. No one gonna do it for you. That hardship you're going through, the $50, $100 somebody can send to you, will not solve your problem until you have a country where jobs are created and you have opportunity to go to work. Government will not create a job. Government will not hire everybody, but government create the atmosphere that bring in investors so that the private sector can flourish, so you can have a job. I'm not working for government in the U.S. You are not working for government, Mr. Pewee, Mr. Gaiman. You're not working for government, but the private sector is traveling because the government created the atmosphere for that to happen. And the only way good investors will come to Liberia is that when the rule of law is adhered to, the company will feel safe to invest that money. So in case something goes wrong, they have a place to go to seek redress. Only crooked businesses will be in Liberia. Businesses that like to do crocodile, they don't want to come. So they want to pay your people, so that when your people go talk, they pay the B-man, they shop it under the wing. Do you know what is happening right now in Liberia? LDEA has 600 people on payroll. Over 1,000 men and women in uniform, they're not on payroll. Today, as we speak, LDEA has 600 men and women on payroll, legitimately. But they have over 1,000 men and women who went through the rigorous training, obtained certification of that training, wearing the uniform today. They are not on payroll. Not a single dime. And I challenge this administration to say I'm lying, because we have the document in our possession. They are listening to me right now. They are hearing me right now. They are furious. They are angry. They want to protest, and people, they are keeping them down. LDEA has about over 1,000 men and women in uniform, carry our country flag on their uniform. They're not on payroll. This is the kind of country that we have. This is the country that don't respect labor law. People work and don't get paid. So it's not only voluntary teachers. It's across government, all sector of government. They got a lot of volunteers who every day go to work with the expectation that will get some kind of compensation, and they are not getting it. They are hoping someday. Some of them been there 5 years. Some of them been there 2 years. Some of them been there 3 years. Some of them been there 6 months. They are wearing uniform as we speak. But I gave the Liberian government 1 week to address this issue. If not, we'll publish the document in our possession. Because these people went through a legitimate training, certification in their possession from LDEA, that they are going through the narcotic training, and you name it. They go to work faithfully every day, wearing the uniform with the Liberian flag on it.
I'll join you quick.
And don't have a salary. Not even a stopping. And you expect them to be faithful in the streets. And do you think you can fight crime with that? You cannot fight crime with that. So to the Bwaka administration, I'm telling you now that we have information in our possession. And I give you 1 week. If not, I'll release the information to the closing argument. It will be published. There are over 1,000 men and women that wear the LDA uniform. They are not on salary. They are not on salary. They have gone through the proper training. They have the proper documentation to be a LDA agent. How can a man like that fight drugs? How can a woman like that fight drugs? How can you prevent them from being, corrupt if they're not on salary for years? It is not only Bwaka for it came from the Myean administration, but President Bwaka now is in charge, and he's supposed to have addressed this issue since he came into office. It's been over 1 year, going to a year and a half now, and this matter have not been addressed. I gave you 1 week. Because I will call them. I know them. We got a list. We'll make sure if they don't get their stopping address, this administration will see the publication of this publicly. You cannot compromise your security. There is a serious national security threat to our nation. For the men and women to be in uniform, who's supposed to be fighting drugs.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gay is having a problem. I think somebody doesn't like him, what he's talking about. But Mr. Gay, you can go out and come back in. It looks like, there you go. It looks like Mr. Gay is having a problem with his connection there. Hopefully, he's not in Grand Gita, his hometown. Senator, the incoming senator, he says, 2029. Hopefully, he's not in Zwedru or Chin, where they are monitoring his activities. He keeps getting frequently disconnected. But ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome some of the folks here that are on the list here, and we'll read some of this. If you are a fan of the closing argument, ladies and gentlemen, our able-bodied Myean, the young man who is our journalist who is in the studio, starting tomorrow, he's going to be preparing for his WIAT program, his exam. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the name right. He's going to be basically studying for 2 weeks to take his exam. And those of you who are his fans, including myself, please look out for Myean. Send him something. I know 2 weeks of borrowing himself, getting himself prepared to be a better person, to pass the exam, to go on to college. He would need some help. Send him a few dollars. Let him have the next 2 weeks off. At least he can have lunch, transportation from home to study and back home. So let's do Maya a favor. If you have, whatever you have, $10, $20, whatever you have, send it to Tomalin George, or send it to the closing argument, send it to Dr. Peabody, and Myean will get it. Myean has done a great job. Imagine, our contract says that we have to be here. We have to leave the studio at 8:30, which is about 30 minutes from now. Sometimes when the argument gets thick, we stay here till 9, 10 o'clock, which is 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in Liberia. He stays in the studio, accommodating us before he goes home. It's not fair, but he does it because he loves what we do. He loves what he does. So if you have some money, you got anything, guys, please look Myean's way. Let's treat him nicely while he goes through the examination. Hopefully, when he graduates and go on to the university of his choice, I can tell you, will be one of the best journalists that Liberia has ever produced. You see the young man, barely out of high school. See the work that he's doing around the country. He was in Nimba, he was in Maryland County, he was in Grand Gita. Wherever the facts takes him, he goes. So let's look Myean's way. Mr. Gay, you need to call Verizon. You need to call your folks. Talk about your issues of connectivity. I really don't believe that you're in the U.S. You're a great guy with integrity. I think you're in Grand Gita running your campaign for 2029, and you're losing connection. But you're doing very, very well. Do the best you can to make sure that we have a reputable, honest senator in Grand Gita. The great people of Grand Gita. So let me go through some of the names here. Obviously, Felicia Hall, thank you very much for tuning in. Fix Electronics, as always. And my own homeboy, Vat Dixon from Grand Bassa County is on here. Thank you very much, Vat, for tuning in. Timo A. Tyler, is that Tyler or Taylor? Thank you very much. G. Gwen Jones Smith, you on here, we see you. We can't get it. Sarah, thank you very much. Yvonne Eo, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name. Yvonne, thank you very much. We got Abdullah Dukle, Asher Rowe, Alice Sa, yes, He's our Guar brother. He doesn't like, Prophet Key. What Prophet Key does, he consider him a brother. He insults the Mandingo folks on a regular basis, which I don't think is the right thing to do. We should never insult people. We should never denigrate anybody because of where they come from, who they are. Denigrate them because they are paid agents who fail to perform. That's incompetence. You are not talking down on people who are incompetent. If they are not doing a job, you call them out. But don't call them out because they're light skinned or they're dark, they're short, they're on the heavy side, they're from Bassa, they're from Grand Gita. No. So everybody, you see, they said when evil is about to start, it comes from people we call crazy folks. When the Civil War was beginning, and they were targeting Mandingo folks, they were targeting Crown folks, they were targeting Guar folks. People talking for joke. This man has a lot of followers, and he's saying these things. And we are not collectively condemning somebody saying something derogatory about today is Mandingo. Tomorrow, it may be the Bassa people, it may be the Crown people, it may be the Pele people, and we sit here and allow this to continue and say, oh, the man is crazy. He can say whatever he wants. He's crazy. That man is not crazy. He's speaking on behalf of his handlers. What they want to say and they can't say, that's why he's saying and getting paid. Mr. Gay, your take on Prophet Key and his attitude towards our Mandingo brothers and sisters.
Look, Prophet Key should not be giving any relevance in Liberia. Look, first of all, I think this is the sad thing about Liberia. Any individual comes to, popular relevance by insulting that way, insulting decent citizens, and we get in relevance. If this is the way politics will win the day in Liberia, then I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be a part of a country where competence is not the hallmark of competition. Part of the reason why we are divided, part of the reason why organizations come and go is because they don't promote competition. They promote one, also one that kind of nonsense. I don't know if I'm saying that the phrase the right way, but even here in the diaspora, many organizations, including my organization, face it, and we fix that problem. Today, it is competence that is leading Grand Gita Association. It is not about who idea it was for the organization to be formed. We demonstrated that we need competence in our youth. In fact, we adopted a new constitution wherein you must be a minimum a holder of an associate degree for you to even vie for the presidency. A minimum.
But you know that's illegal, right?
That's not illegal. That's our constitution.
Your constitution has to conform with the Constitution of the United States.
But we're not operating in Liberia.
I said the United States.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's a non-for-profit, so we're not. This is where we want to go, because here's the thing. We have had people who came about, because here's the thing. When you have people who don't understand basic stuff, basic instruction, they will argue on unnecessary things all the time. The most dangerous people in society are the halfway educated.
So
the most dangerous people in society.
Are you ready for the lawsuit that coming your way?
Listen here. The most.
Are you ready?
Listen. When a lawsuit comes, we always hire our lawyer. But the most dangerous set of group of people in the world are the halfway educated people. They know a little bit, but they don't know enough, and they are left in this middle of the desert with no compass, and they think they understand what's going on. They argue all this on things they have no idea about, And then when you give them the responsibility, they can't function.
Let me take you up on this. Let me read this. Someone just sent this to me. The U.S. Constitution does not specify any qualification for the Supreme Court justices such as age, education, profession, or citizenship. Okay? It says here, but every justice since 1940 has had some level of law training. Prior to that, they did apprenticeship. So how are you going to turn this thing into you can't be okay?
The man asked me,
doesn't have a degree. You're going to tell me I shouldn't participate?
Listen here.
I got a degree.
Listen here. Look at the U.S. Congress. 65% of those serving or who have served have had a law degree.
That's correct.
Even though it was never a requirement.
That's correct. So don't make it a requirement.
No, listen. Let the argument I'm making right here. The argument is they understood in order to be a lawmaker, you must have some kind of understanding of the law. Right? Nobody asked them to go to law school. They themselves put themselves, some of them got loans, some of them got scholarship. They went to law school. And you can't just enter law school without having your first degree. Right? You must first have your first degree to be admitted in the law school. And this is the reason why they are doing so well. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect union. But this democracy has been around for 200 years. Because they continue to perfect it as they go along. Trump came into office and thought he could baboozle his way. What happened? They challenged him. He subsided. Now he conforming to the rule of law. The circumstances surrounding our situation in Liberia is because many of us, Liberians, we don't like the thing they call competition. We don't like to promote competence. What we like to promote is the shortcut, the back door. Tomorrow morning, many of them will go to the bank. They will not go straight to the teller. They go to the security officer at the bank. They get in a bank slip. The security officer go right next to the teller, slip the slip underneath there. They look at the name. Everyone of you standing in the line, they forget about you. They process the paper. They throw that sound to the security officer. He come and collect the package, give it to the owner. He get a cut. The teller got her cut, and they're okay with that. That lifestyle, they love it more than the regular lifestyle, more than going through the regular process. The passport system, the same way. They'll tell you, say, oh, express service, you're supposed to get it the same day. They take your money, they go to the system, they put in regular service. They say, my man, come back tomorrow. And when I'm here 2 days, oh, man, you know, I got you. Boom. The express service you pay for, you got regular service. The government got regular service money. They got the money in their pocket. This is across all sectors of government ministry. This is the life that they enjoy. They found pleasure in that. And this is why they fought against Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, because in their mind, their guy has spent all of his life, most of his life, in the corporate world. He followed protocol. When they say event, he's there 15, 30 minutes ahead of the time. Every event, he's consistent. Mr. Cummings had never come to any event late. I challenge anyone who will say he has been to any event late. All of the events that we have, he has always been 30 minutes or 45 minutes ahead of time. He's already in the building. Teleconference, he's already on the line before many people will come on the line. Why? Because his system doctrinated. Many folks in Liberia say, if we elect this guy, our block us short, we will not get the opportunity to get what we can get. So even those who are elected officials fought against him because they don't want Liberia to go forward. They enjoy the corrupt system. This system, oh my man, that Liberia, oh, Liberia for you, that kind of thing. And they brag about the Liberian government experience. What sort of experience are you bragging about? Corrupt system? Can we have a functioning system in Liberia that everybody can follow? Yes. Are they willing to? No. I will end with it. This whole
No,
LEC thing.
before you end, I want you to touch on it because you were in flight when you left. Will Cohn's past, his illegal past, his deceit in the past,
Mhm.
and his tyrannical ideas and behavior in the past, do you think will have an impact, a negative impact on his leadership for the next 4 years?
Listen, Cohn will not last 1 year. I can tell you for a fact.
Oh,
What Chairman Benedict did yesterday to obtain 26 votes as a newly elected representative of the House of Representatives laid the foundation for him to lobby going forward within the next 6 months to become a speaker. Because if he can network and lobby it around and be able to bring people on his side, the rule of law, Coco, 26 not too far from 37. Remember now, it's not even too far from 49. Richard Cohn, with all due respect, he's not a competent individual. Matter of fact, he have a challenge expressing himself. All the other interviews he have had, all the opportunity he have, even when he gave them 5 minutes each the other day and said, talk to your friend, why did she elect you? He gave one of the worst speeches ever we have heard from any speaker, seeking any candidate that's seeking the speakership, right? This man was interviewed at the airport going to Ghana for President John Mahama inaugural program. And he said to the Liberian people, you're going to Ghana, so the Ghanaians can help them, find a means to have a proper leadership in Liberia. The Ghanaian practice parliamentary democracy. We practice constitutional democracy. Completely different form of government. How can they teach you how to run your stuff? But this man is a lecturer at the University of Liberia, though. He is a lecturer at the University of Liberia. How he does it, I don't know. How he got qualified, I don't know. But his output, his leadership style, he doesn't possess the persona for that portfolio. He doesn't. And I can see in the shortest possible future that he will be replaced very soon.
wow. Mr. Pewee, this guy, our incoming senator for Grand Judah, is saying based on this man's ethics, his behavior in the past, with the tinted record he has, he will not last for 4 years.
So I wouldn't want to go that route. What I do know is that that's a political institution very well. That anytime you have this, there can be this leadership. The guys there are not ideologically driven. So most of them are just transactional individual we have. So I only want to detest that or challenge that. So yeah, I'm inclined to believe that it's possible, but not 6 months or so. But yeah, a year too responsible. I don't think can just you rub there and then people will want to move on the basis of transactions, right? So okay, is it possible that we remove the same thing? That's what led to the former speaker Ben Oxted. The process, and that's one of the things that we try to now begin the process of advancing. We're suggesting that we advance this tendency of institutional-based process in the country, where we will concentrate on pushing the institution to be more or less very powerful. And then people are being elected on the basis of the philosophy of the political institutions, and then they will foster that agenda. So if to say the ANC got 10% in the legislature, and the vision of the ANC is to push the interest of the country, those guys will solely bend by that. If that is the kind of a way the country will move through, I think it's important. They're going to help us to push a lot of major things moving forward. It's important that we do that. But yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be 6 months, but yeah, I'm inclined to believe that it's possible that that time is possible. Anything can happen.
Mr. Gay, we were talking about the unification of the country. We got 19 more minutes here because they say we got to get out of here by 8:30. It's 8:11. We got 19 minutes. We are talking about the unification of our party, of our country.
Mm-hmm.
President Torgbean set the agenda. If of all his achievement, if you call Torgbean, one of the things that everybody would say, including your father and your grandfather, was the unification of the country. How important it is. When you talk about Torgbean, it etched into the conversation. The next person there that I can think about, I can vividly see, is President Weah doing the disarmament on the soccer field with the children, telling them disarm, disarm. Those are things that are etched. What would be if Joseph Boakai today was to end his tenure? What would be etched into your mind as a legacy of Joseph Boakai?
Before I speak to that, let me let the public know that my dad, my current father, who's still alive, is 95. God bless his soul. But one of those people who carried President Torgbean in a hammock. And so, fast forward to 2025, and our country still where we are, and of this age, and sometimes listen to my dad, that the story he told of that, experience. It is sad for our nation, but be as it may, unification is not on the paper. It's not paper. Unification is action. It's your deeds. It is what you put out there. It is felt. Like we felt it when we went to Kentucky of late. Like our union had been scattered for so long. And this weekend was different. We saw people coming together, people who have not seen for a long time. Many years had never been to convention. Kid. That's feeling.
Did you see my man, Emmanuel Banto?
Emmanuel Banto was there. David Banto was there. The Banto family was there. So, even the council guy, David Banto from Philadelphia was there as well. The councilman, newly elected council guy. So, but again, it's like you can't fake joy, right? You can't fake joy. Excitement. When you're excited, it comes from within. You can fake sadness. You can't fake joy. Right? And the Liberian will see if this President Joseph Boakai, His Excellency, if he meant well for Liberia. If favorite saying, think Liberia, build Liberia, and what? Love Liberia, right? Now it is the time to unite our country, to put aside all differences. You have control of the executive mansion, the Senate, the House of Representatives. You will soon have control of the judiciary if you appoint your Chief Justice. This administration have absolutely zero excuse now as to why the Liberian people can see progress. Because year 1.5 almost now, no foundation has been laid. Right? Civil servants, police officers still receiving less money while generator.
What can you attribute to his legacy? What can you say now if today ended? What would be Joseph Boakai's
There
legacy?
will not be a significant legacy. It will be a huge controversy. People who love him will want to paint a picture that does not exist. And we that are critics of him will also paint the picture that we saw. We saw the CPP crumble in his hand. He had a Fairmont BBC interview, and after he said, if I shall return to Liberia, the CPP will be stronger than ever. He came back, it was the complete opposite. He went on VOA and said there won't be any business as usual. He will set the tone. He did not declare his asset. As per the Constitution, declare your asset before you take office. It was after a month plus before he declared his asset and made it public. It took almost a year for many of his cabinet members to declare their asset. The asset recovery team became a VLA. I mean, the list goes on. Tenure position was temporary, including the central bank governor. We heard from the current acting central bank governor that his current salary is $10,000 US, 5,000 in housing allowance, 7,000 cash allowance, plus vehicle and so on and so forth. A nurse go to work and come home with $250 US every month. A medical doctor highest pay right now in Liberia is $2,500 when somebody generator makes $3,000 a month. Think about it. Somebody spent 8 years of that time in college becoming a medical doctor, make $2,500 a month, and somebody generator just sitting right in the generator hall makes $3,000.
But
make that make sense.
Yes. Mr. Pewee, you the historian here now. Totman, Talbot, Doe, Ellen, Weir, Waka, put their legacies. Just give me three. If you think about Totman, what comes to mind? Think about Weir, what comes to mind? Think about Ellen, what comes to mind? I know Ellen, I know for the fact her legacy, whether she did anything at all, she's the first woman president on the continent of Africa. That's history. It's edge. Nobody can touch that.
Yes. Also, quickly to that, William Diaz Totman, he brought this. He left a very great legacy.
Yes,
a very wonderful, like I said. Even
unification is unbelievable.
We were kids down the line, and even growing up, our parents, uncles, grand uncles, great thinkers, people with great wisdom, town chiefs, and other things from across the country will say to you, legacy was very powerful. The unification policy he brought and other things, and he was straightforward on that. Imagine he brought this level of engagement and showing that Liberians will have to come together, and he didn't just stop there. He exemplified, right? It was per action. So he left a very powerful legacy in terms of the unification process. Another issue about this decentralization process also, there's one legacy he left. He empowered local leaders in terms of our local government structure. He was one of those that started to, commissioners and all those things. He made them very powerful. So they would say to you, his decentralization mechanism he put in place was far-reaching across the country and showing, bringing leadership, taking. He was one of those persons that also taken leadership, government out of Monrovia, so to decentralize the country internal structure. So that's a very powerful legacy. Samuel Kanyan Doe, like I say, he would leave behind was that he was this powerful sport element that spread sport across. He brought sport to bear. He pushed Liberians to start to love soccer, and he himself exemplified it. He played it on a superficial level, though. He was a very senior player. Normally, if you touch him at penalty, he scored a lot of goals. But he pushed the line.
Don't mess with the CSC.
Yeah, he electrified.
But he gave a George Weah today because of the investment in sports.
That euphoria he brought to bear, right?
Okay.
His quest to pump money in both moral and financial support. I can remember picking sitting after behind the team. Then I would not laugh. Couldn't go. I was picking when I can't remember the year, but when we beat this country called Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, right? And then Samuel Kanyan Doe went down. He bowed to the executive mansion 3 times. He said, we'll go back to Nairobi, we'll spare Daniel Ara more, M-O-R, more. I can still remember that, right? M-O-R. He said, he went down this way. I mean, so you could feel the president coming down his knee, putting his forehead on the ground, celebrating that euphoric condition, meaning sending that message across the country that we need to rally for sport. That's one of his legacies he will leave. He electrified, he pushed the Samuel Kanyan Doe Sport Complex, the first state-of-the-art stadium Liberia ever. And since then, that's the only state-of-the-art thing we still have today. Shame on us anyway. And another thing of his legacy you will push forward is that he was an aggressive type of person, believing that he wanted to expound the road network. He introduced the system of the Banga Manikama Highway. He was key on bringing road connectivity also. The Bamagila, the Monrovia Totman Bamagila Highway also he brought about.
one of the most guaranteed roads have ever been built in a country history. So he will focus on that. That's part of the legacy he will leave. Another legacy, I believe,
and agriculture, green revolution.
yeah, that's what I was going to. Another legacy I believe that he left behind was when he prayed about this green revolution to get back to the soil. Right? He said, you know, there was this famous interview he did with Child. Was it Child? No, was this? I just forgot the general. There were two. That video is still somewhere around. Well, in Grand Judah, when you find, he said he saw his keep on brushing and all of things. So, and lastly, another, like I said, I thought he brought he started to revolutionize most of the barrack we have. You know, most of the barrack, the homes of those soldiers were shanty homes. He started building modern homes for military men. You see the Camp Suffering barrack, the BTC barrack, and all those things, the Camp Lama barrack, and all those things. History will tell us these are the mark he left. Now we came from Torgbean Torgbean. Torgbean came of this. I don't know what Torgbean did. Torgbean came to this issue of being called. Torgbean came up with this straightforward discipline system in the country. Total involvement. Everybody should be involved, right?
For higher heights.
Higher height issue. You brought a suit about that. Total involvement from mat to mattress. So that is a very key legacy. He was a progressive Liberian leader that tried to take the country from one step to the next. So that higher height thing, the total involvement process, everybody should be involved. He was the president that said, hey, time for discipline. If the teacher is to be in the classroom, if the student is expected in the classroom by 8 o'clock, teacher should be in the classroom by 7:45 latest. And then he brought the total involvement thing that government officials go to work by 8 o'clock and dismiss this time. Everybody was on time. He showed that. So that is kind of a legacy he brought also that was very powerful. Then we've just taken the quick of time. And we'll move over to President Charles Garguah Taylor.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, and this is a president that I deeply love and cherish. And one of the reasons why I love him because he was a very charismatic Liberian president. He stole the charisma after he came just to adopt President Tomalin. Imagine Tomalin was a very charismatic leader, very powerful charismatic leader, President Tomalin. Yeah. Right? I didn't see him, but I read of him and I listened to most of his time, the way he behaved. He would interact with other world leaders, taking his cigar and then walking without his stick, just mimic him in all terms, if you will. Torgbean also was very powerful. One of the things I forgot about, he was a charismatic person also, but a very great intellectual, a wonderful orator. Yeah. One of the best we've seen in recent history. Charles Taylor maybe tapped them in them. Taylor and Torgbean were the two very powerful, charismatic in terms of oration. Very, very strong. Taylor, like I would say, when he brought the war back to the country, when he won the election, he won a very landmark election, massive election he won. But he was a kind of a person that was bent on bringing a lot of independence to the country, saying that Liberia can be, and then we cannot be. So, like I said, I would be very unfair just because he didn't have the time to do anything. Less than a year, the country was plunged with crisis. So it was there's this issue about war. So I would go back to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She left a very powerful legacy also. The first woman to be democratically elected in the history of Africa, one, in our country. So it's a very important legacy. She brought the country back to the Committee of Nations. We were referred to as a pariah state, a failed state. She brought us back to the Committee of Nations. The country was broken when she took over the country. She rebuilt institutions. All of our roads, imagine the road from Broad Street all the way to Painesville Road were all broken, terrible.
Buchanan Highway.
Yeah. So the legacy she left of bringing restoring our infrastructure system. She did that. We will give that to her. The Monrovia Buchanan Road, super. I can be driving. One time I was driving Buchanan Road, I was trying to middle. I got to know. I was thinking I was somewhere on one of those county state route, right? Yeah. or this state route, right? Yeah. Beautiful road. Buchanan. With all the build out road. With all other standards, right? It have all the safety features.
because it was part of the World Bank routine criteria set for that contract to be issued. The Monrovia Buchanan Road, she did that. She did the Monrovia Kakata Banga Ganta Road. She did that also. These were massive project that she implemented.
The hard road.
She restored the hard road that was broken, shattered, completely shattered by the devastating civil crisis. She restored the hard road. She was the first person to put current on. That's the time she came out with this thing: small light today, big light tomorrow. So she left a very powerful legacy in terms of that. She restored our democracy back because the country was shattered. President Dr. Bakube.
Bekube. Usman.
Usman was President Dr. George Bekube Weah.
Right.
The legacy.
Fucking clone.
Fucking clone. Yeah, fucking clone. That's named after the church. He himself left a legacy on a serious note. He tried to bring the system back in terms of allowing us to develop ourselves, right? Took the initiative. For instance, his great legacy is trying to do most of the community roles he started. He was moved by first during the entire rehab era where he lived, being New Market area and sport ground, right? Erecting most of our park, bringing a park system towards recreation. Believe that recreation is very important for the young people. Building most of those areas and building the other community roles and also focusing. One of the legacies that he resumed because the project that Samuel Doe started, he just broke the ground, but he didn't do it. Dr. Weah was the first person to start and lay Alpha Road on the Lofa Road, right? He did that. That's a major legacy of his also. And then this issue about building mini stadiums across in communities and other areas and building modern markets for
and low income home home for.
And I'll come into that and introducing this thing, because ever since we did this exit projects, when we did this with the other president, because during the 1979, and that was part of President Torgbean, like I said also, when they brought about this OAU. Right, we did most of those things. Then we did most of those estates, and then the Banansville estate came about, and then I think he did most of those estates. Then the Cabra and other estates. I think Doe did one of the estates. I think Doe did Cabra, right? Or which one? Doe did one of those estates.
I'm not sure.
But then
he did Matara, the Matari estate, right?
New Matari, yeah, New Matari, and then this issue came up with the pro homes. Pro homes to
14 military hospital now. 14 military.
Yeah, we're coming to that. The pro homes, the 14 military hospital, the Emirates International Hospital in Bopolu City, Bopolu County. Right? So he left a great side of legacy. At the 14 military hospital, he laid the first brick. Today, that's the hospital that most people, when they are sick today, most of the government officials, they were to go for treatment. They got some good doctor and other things. Got some state-of-the-art equipment there and other things, right? So the 14 military hospital is doing very well. And we have a brand new 100 state-of-the-art bedroom hospital in Bopolu City, Bopolu County. And he stopped there. He brought about he did the renovation and re-equipped the JFK hospital, where we introduced for the first time in the history of the country, unfortunately, the first time, to take in massive dialysis machines.
Yes.
At the JFK Medical Center. It's unfortunate I will have to say that. We celebrated that at the time, but it was the first time ever. It was President Weah that did that.
And I want to correct that. We had dialysis machine in Yekepa. It was not the first time ever in Liberia. However,
for Liberia.
Let me rest, man. If you say this to the people, you being unfair. Before the war, the dialysis machine you had in Yekepa was being run by the company that brought it. It was not the government of Liberia. So Tom, I know you want to come and say you want
to but then say
it was not
government property when you say in Liberia ever that the
but what I said
because dialysis machine was in Liberia.
I said ever in Liberia to bring to the
the government.
Effort, but when we talk
Come
about
on now.
it,
We're talking government here.
I want to make it a
Anthony
reference
Gay,
in Liberia too.
we talk about the president. We're talking
Anthony,
about
everything, you know, what God was saying.
Okay. If you made that distinction, then that's fine.
We're not decision making. We're talking about president legacy. We're not talking about company legacy.
Okay, no problem. But that's the issue in Liberia.
Yeah. So these are some of the massive projects he carried out across the country, and it's important we can go on and name. Now we have to wait now to see what going to be the legacy of this president, this current president. For now, I'm yet to see anything from the entire arrest agenda. I'm yet to see what we're going to be. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge him wrong for now because it's just 1 year into the system. 1 year 2 now. We're going to see what the legacy is going to be. Probably before the election, then we'll start judging what did he do or what did he not do. But these are the legacy.
That Donald Fund will celebrate.
I may not have gotten them quickly chronologically, but these are
he did well.
Some of the way that those leaders left.
You got a Liberia trophy. You did well.
Yeah, we gentlemen, we have run out of time here. We're 2 minutes over. Mr. Gay, 1 minute. You're closing. Please, let's keep it 1 minute.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the crew as always, and Mr. Gayman, you're holding the platform down recently. You know, everybody be busy, but you always come in the full swing. And to those of you who always join as well, I want to say thank you. But again, the Liberian government addressed the situation with LDEA. You can't have men and women in uniform with a country flag on it doing pro bono job. They need to be put on payroll. They have gone through the rigorous training, obtained a certificate, and they are working. They are not on payroll. Voluntary job insecurity is not a safe thing. It's a national security threat. Put those people on salary. Currently, you have 600 men and women on payroll at LDEA. There are over 1,000 plus who are not on payroll. So we give you a week to address this matter, hands down. If not, we will publish it. Closing argument will have the official documents, and we have the names of those individuals who've gone through the training with the proper certification from LDEA, and they are not on salary. So when you break it, but every employee got their salary, these people are supposed to be on payroll. They are not your volunteers. So that is the point I'm trying to make here. And Mr. Gayman, we had a document in our possession, but we got to give the government a chance to act.
Thank you. It's Honorable Pewee.
Yes, someone asked me if I understand the word international. Maybe you can teach me what it means by international. Well, yes. So let me say that to you. The reason the hospital is the Emirates International. Some of the information right now to you. It was built by the government of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. So the hospital do meet international standard. And the name of the hospital, my dear friend and brother, I don't know who the name of who I don't know who the person that asked the question, but yeah, the hospital is the Emirates International Hospital. It's a 100 state-of-the-art equipped, state-of-the-art hospital actually built in line with all standards, if you will. So you can move in and go and check it out and confirm them for yourself for more information for you. Listen, I want to take this time to call on the president of our country, my own dear uncle Jose Yumambwaka. Follow. I want to take this time to call on you to foster reconciliation. The message today that you issue via the proclamation from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is important that you move to exemplify this particular thing, that you move to reconcile our country. Call all of us, we that supported you, those that supported you, we that didn't support you, and including even those that didn't even take part in the process. Bring everybody together, political leaders, non-actors, political actors, non-political actors, religious leaders, traditional leaders, the chief, the zones and the bodios, all of those groups need to come together, push them together. We have a wonderful conversation about reconciliation, conversation about moving the country forward. Tell the people where the challenge is. And it's important. If you communicate with the people, they will understand. And President Taylor did this. He told the people before that he failed them because of some other reasons. President Sully said sometimes we're talking and the rest of that. Come as a leader and speak to the people
call for reconciliation so that the country can move forward. It's not important that the country of 5 million people, 43,000 square miles, those that are in the middle of the people of the country should all unite and come together and bring forth some ideas that will move the country forward. Uncle, trust me, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. It's not all the time we come with rough politics. Sometimes we come with proffer some way forward, and that's my own way forward. I'm suggesting to you. Today's National Unification Day. I mean, yesterday was National Unification Day, right? But I know we just funded Unification Day preparing for the Flower March. So if you are to wake up tomorrow morning, Mr. President, please, by the grace of God, and I know we will all pray to God for you to steer the affairs of the country. But while you concentrate on steering the affairs of the country, we believe that you do things that will reconcile the country. The process of reconciliation is not about you giving job to people. It's about you talking to them, bringing them together so that the country will move in one direction. To where there is this bitter taste of tablet and other things, bring some things to sweeten it and move the country forward. I just want to say, Damon, thank you again. And want to say a very wonderful National Unification Day to every Liberian. If I have heard anybody here on this platform via the followers or our comrade and other things, I want to extend
you owe me a big rooster.
my sincere National Unification olive branch. I'm extending olive branch to all of you, including my own dear brother Joman Jara.
Yeah, but people are doing
my own dear brother Joman Jara. I'm extending olive branch to you. I hope we'll take this time to reconcile, because now you made some statement that don't resemble unification. Unification is all coming together. We all and celebrate one wonderful country, Liberia. Thank you very much for having me.
And my co-panelist Abu Kamara. Abu, the thing I'm telling you, in bad means okay talk. Now, serious matter, the people need a salary or they need to build salary.
Listen, guys, listen, thank you very much for spirited debate. Unification Day is a very important day in our life. Just imagine what Torgbean did that brought us all together. Now we have to keep it together. When you go to Vanjima, I think of Vanjima, you saw a huge unification
monument. Yeah, right in Vanjima. So you been in Vanjima?
No. I mean, I've been doing the research and I saw it so big. And they got some part of it that they are not maintaining.
Beautiful, stay there.
Place.
Stay there. Huge.
To maintain
That's
that.
why that thing was very solid. That's why all the fighting in Vanjima that went on, it stayed there solid.
It has to be put in a budget to maintain our landmarks. It is beautiful. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. God bless.
Thank
you.